Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Hold on, where's my me? Hi guys, welcome to the kitchen. I am going to get it started rolling just so that we can get moving. I appreciate everybody that's come tonight. And we are heading back in time to 2020 for Judge Kim, or actually, I don't know who it's going to be today, but we will see. So let's get going. Hey guys. Oh, do you knew Judge Kim from your old job? That's pretty cool. As I said, this courtroom is from 2020, and this is a throwback to the original times when we used to watch. There's no audio yet. This is a throwback to one of those times when like court used to start. I know, and here's the thing. I often don't skip ahead because some of the best stuff happens right when things are starting, but I think Judge is going to be here shortly. So I did skip even more. Um, he wears the same bow tie he wore in middle school. I love that. That's hilarious. There we go. Okay.
These copies. All right. Okay, good morning, everyone. This is the detention docket for the 323rd District Court. I'd like to announce that in compliance with the Texas Supreme Court 22nd emergency order regarding the coronavirus, we are not having any in-person court proceedings unless necessary or unless it's not possible to do so. But in order to comply with the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 13, the otherwise known as the Open Courts Act, since we are not allowing people into the courtroom in observance of County Judge Glenn Whitley's order, we are broadcasting this proceeding on YouTube so the public has access to these court proceedings. No portion of this proceeding may be copied, recorded, or broadcast. Violations that are punishable by contempt of court. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with the gentleman that's in the Tarrant County Sheriff's custody, Mr. Mendoza. Okay, that's right. Okay, hello, Mr. Mendoza. So, do you understand English?
No.
No. Okay. We're going to have Mr. Allard? Do you just want to go and explain the rights to him after I do? I just want to make sure he understands. I want to make sure he understands his rights.
Yeah,
all right.
of course.
Mr. Mendoza, this is a detention hearing. While you're in custody, every 10 days, you have to see a judge to make sure if I need to decide whether to keep you in custody or not. You are an adult, so you're held in the Tarrant County Jail, but you're still entitled to these 10-day hearings. You have a right to an attorney, but if you cannot afford an attorney, I'll provide one for you. And you have the right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Mr. Adler?
Thank you, Judge. Señor Mendoza, soy Frank. No sé si se recuerda de mí, soy su abogado. Cada 10 días usted tiene el derecho de tener una audiencia de detención, porque el caso todavía es juvenil, pero como usted es adulto, está en la cárcel de adultos, tienes el derecho de no hablar, y yo como su abogado, yo voy a hablar por usted hoy, así que no quiero que digas nada. ¿Está bien? ¿Y entendiste todo?
Sí, está bien.
Okay, gracias. Judge, I did the best I could for all the Spanish speakers on there. I expect no critiques.
Mary is silently judging you.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right, so Mr. Mendoza, originally back in 2003, you're arrested for a felony case. The court found you unfit to proceed and sent you to Mejia State School for competency restoration. And then you were brought back. Then Judge Boyd found you unfit again, so we sent you back to Mejia. You were accidentally released, and then you disappeared for approximately 17 years.
Señor Mendoza, que usted tenía un caso de juvenil en el 2003. Y en ese caso, la jueza Boyd demandó a usted a ver si usted entendía todo lo que estaba pasando, y eso fue en una facilidad que se llamaba Mejia Escuela de Niños. Y cuando usted estuvo en esa escuela, usted se fue sin permiso, y eso fue hace 17 años atrás. Y los encontramos hoy con su caso del 2003.
So now that you're almost 32 years old, there's a separate proceeding that we have to do to decide whether your case continues in the juvenile court or goes to the adult court.
Y en este momento que tiene 32 años.
Sorry, did he just say 32? 32 years old? That's how old this person is? My daughter was asking me something, but seriously? That's crazy. Anyways, just as a reminder, we vote 1 for detained, 2 for released. You can change your vote. We learn and we evolve. So yeah, absolutely. You can change your vote anytime. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Yeah, 32 years old. This is an unusual hearing, guys. He disappeared for 17 years, and Judge Kim, I guarantee what happened was he was like, let's clear the books. Let's go through all the old warrants and cross-reference that with people that are already arrested or whatever. And I guarantee he was able to like knock out a bunch of cases that were never closed and add that to his record. So he's really about judicial efficiency. Anyways, he's not a juvenile, but Judge Kim always likes to talk about how charges in juvenile court will follow you forever if you don't come and stand before him and talk about them. So anyways, it was my birthday on Saturday. Thank you all. These are all old. I'm not denying that. These are meant to be old. This is how a lot of us got into watching court together, and it was really fun. So we do this in a very sort of slow way. We go with the flow of the hearing, and I'm just hanging out in my kitchen. So anyways, he didn't know if it would go through juvenile court or not. Again, that is because I assume the judge could still rule on it, even though the person's like older. I don't know. Anyways, let's continue watching. Thank you very much for the birthday wishes, guys. I appreciate it. And I'm gonna do the bingo cards for 100% because like parent getting their kid in more trouble is like a classic. A classic. Should I bake a cake? No, I don't know. No, there's no need to be sorry. We are trying to learn and like figure stuff out together here. So ask any questions away and be, resourceful. And if you guys know the answer, then that's the best. But right now, these occurred in 2020. So again, we're going way far back. Anyways, let's continue on. and see what Judge Kim does with this 32-year-old detainee.
Años, tenemos que tener una audiencia a ver si el caso se queda en la corte juvenil o si el juez va a mandar el caso a las cortes de adultos.
You ran from the court for about 17 years. I'm not comfortable releasing you because I don't think you'll show back up in court.
Usted corrió de la corte por 17 años. No estoy cómodo dejándote ir, así que te voy a detener.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and keep you in custody for at least the next 10 days.
Así que te vas a quedar ahí en la cárcel por lo menos los próximos 10 días.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Mendoza?
¿Tienes preguntas, señor Mendoza?
Sí, que se podía hablar con usted. Así como...
Sí, usted y yo vamos a hablar, pero en este momento no podemos hablar porque el juez tiene muchos casos. ¿Está bien, señor?
Sí.
Hablamos muy pronto.
Gracias.
De nada. Judge, he just wanted to talk to me, and I told him he and I would talk privately and independently from today.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Adler.
Thanks,
All right,
Judge.
thank you, Mr. Mendoza. Sheriff, we're done with this inmate. Thank you very much for having him here.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge.
Adiós, señor.
That's right. I think he's already gone. Right. The next one on the docket is Brian Carrera, Mr. Adler. I think he's actually already been picked up.
You know, I didn't know.
Yes,
I hadn't heard from Ms. Cook. That's great.
I think it was 10 o'clock this morning was when it was
Awesome.
scheduled. So
Perfect.
you're
Thank
still
you.
here, and so I'll still pay you for your appearance. But just to let you know, we were waiting for the transport. The transport
Yeah.
happened. So that's good news.
Great news. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Next is Todd Dietrich with Mr. Lofton.
Good morning. It's a hard
Good
act to
morning.
follow Mr. Adler as normal, but I'm behind him all the way. So nice to see Lisa here, and Zane, welcome. So
Mr. Dietrich. All right. This is a detention hearing. All right. Is Mr. Dietrich here?
I'm right here.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So this is a detention hearing. The law says when a child is brought to a facility, you have to see a judge within the first 2 business days and have to decide whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you do have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. All right, so Mr. Dietrich, you just turned 15 last month.
Yes, sir.
And then look. All right. So who's there? Who's security control with Mr. Dietrich?
What?
Okay.
I'm his
Mr.
grandmother.
Dietrich, who's with you? All right. Can you shut that door? That
Yes,
noise
yes,
in the hallway is distracting.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. So, Mr. Dietrich, let's see, your history of this department started when you were 10 years old. You're brought in for aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury and 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. You end up getting probation when you were 10 years old. I guess, Ms. Hall, did he successfully complete the probation?
Sir, he's still on until his 18th birthday.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Must have been a really serious case. All right. So we brought you in. Your drug test gave you a drug test. It was negative. Let's see. Almost 2 weeks ago, your mom contacted us because she's been having a lot of trouble with you at home. You're becoming assaultive and destructive at home, as well as leaving the home without permission. You went to a friend's house without permission, and Todd's grandmother had to call the police to get you back home. All right. So on August 3rd, Ms. Hall and her supervisor held an administrative hearing with you and your grandmother to address the issues, to try and direct you in the right direction. You refused to participate in the administrative hearing. And then when they were asking you to participate, you started cussing and throwing things. So they talked to your therapist, and the recommendation is to stay at the care house. They tried to present this idea to you, and you said you did not want to go to the care house. And so they told me about it, and I issued a warrant for you because you're not following the terms of your probation.
Yes, sir.
So you're currently on the waiting list for inpatient treatment at the care house.
Sir.
They were supposed to have a bed open early last week, but the wait is now 3 weeks. So your PO is asking if you get to level 1 outstanding to release you back to your grandmother and an electronic monitor to wait for the bed to open up. All right. All right, that's absolutely reasonable to me. So Todd, this is where I'm at, okay? You're on probation. Do you know what TJJD is?
Where I'm at right now?
No, so TJJD, I think in 15, that was still, okay, it used to be called TYC a long time ago, all right? And what that is, that's prison for kids. So what happens is I can send a child, in your case, I can send you to TJJD, but it's not for a set amount of time. I just send you there. They say, once they feel like that you can behave and follow the rules and actually just be a good kid, then they'll let you out. It could be 1 day. It could be all the way up until your 19th birthday. I don't set the amount of time. Actually, you set the amount of time because it depends on how you behave while you're there. So that option is still on the table. I can send you to TJJD. But for me, that's the last resort. I only do that when I'm absolutely convinced. When you, Todd, convince me that you cannot function here at your grandma's house, okay? So that being said, I want to give you another chance. We'll look at care house, but here's the thing. I am not going to release you to your grandmother to continue with your shenanigans, okay? If you're in your grandmother's house, so remember, your grandmother did her job. She raised her kid, okay? And she's done. She has no obligation to you. She loves you, but she doesn't owe you anything, right? She is doing this just because she cares about you, but if you think about it, if you make it difficult for her, at a certain point, she cuts bait. She says, I'm just not going to deal with this. I dealt with this, 20 years ago, right, Grandma? That's about right, 20, 30 years ago, maybe? I don't know how long it was since your child was 15. So Todd, you have to understand, you are kind of earning your time at Grandma's, right? Because if we can't put you with Grandma, chances are you have to go to TJJD.
Yes, sir.
All right, so this is what I want from you. I am okay. Ms. Hall has always made reasonable requests. She's going to bat for you now. And you know what? I'm going to respect that. I'm going to do what she's recommending. I probably, if it was left to me, would have just kept you here until Care House opened up because of the problems you're creating for Grandma and how you refuse to participate in the administrative hearing. But since Ms. Hall is saying give you a chance, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to let you get to level 1 outstanding here. I will let you go on electronic monitor, okay, to be with your grandmother until a bed opens up at Care House. Okay. That being said, if you keep on causing problems here like you did at Grandma's home before, you're not going to get out of here. You'll be here for the next 3 weeks until Care House opens up. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you get to level 1 outstanding and I let you go, and then you're causing problems with Grandma, Grandma tells Ms. Hall tells me, and I just keep you here. We do it again until so you can be in and out of here for the next 3 weeks, or you can just go home, follow your grandma's rules, and just stay home.
Yes, sir.
So there's an easy way and a hard way, but you understand, I have no control over that. Ms. Hall doesn't, Grandma doesn't. It's completely up to you. It's your decision whether you're going to follow her rules. And here's the thing: the reason why I'm saying level 1-0 here for you to get out, because that proves to me you have the ability to follow the rules. If you can get to level 1 outstanding here, that means you have the ability to be level 1 outstanding at your grandma's house.
Yes, sir.
See why I'm doing this? I'm kind of setting you up to prove to me you can do it. You can't come back and be like, well, Judge, I can't do it. That's just not me. Well, if it's not you, then you'll never get out of here. All right, we're on the same page?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm empowering you. I'm putting all this in your hands so you can make decisions, good decisions, right? But you can make the decisions to go home. It takes 3 days to go up from level 2 to level 1. You're level 2 from what I see because you were just brought in. They'll reassess you every 3 days. And when you get to level 1 outstanding, I'm okay releasing Grandma. Grandma, does this sound fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Grandma, you understand I'm doing this because I'm trusting you that if Todd is causing problems, that you will call Ms. Hall. Do I have your promise?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. All right, Todd, hopefully I will not see you in 10 days, okay? All right, thank you.
You have excused, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Lofton, thank you.
Thank you all, everyone. Good morning.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. I think you did Mr. Lofton's work for him today.
Thank you.
All right, Ashley Kent is the next one.
Is that two releases that are like way crazy?
All right, is Miss Kent here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there we are. Thank you. And Miss Mills. Oh, is Miss Mills here? No, I don't see Miss Mills. So, Miss McGonigal. Miss McGonigal?
Your Honor.
Okay, there we go. I'm asking you to fill in for Miss Mills
That's
as
fine.
today's attorney. So, all right, Ashley, this is the detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is when a child is brought to a facility, you have to see a judge within 2 business days and have to make a decision whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have the right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you do have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I'll provide one for you. All right, so Ms. Kent, let's see. You just turned 15 last month. You have never been here before. So, let's see, on August 6th, you were referred by Euless PD for the false statement. Oh, that's right. I remember this one. Why did I say we were setting this?
I was supposed to have it here with CPS.
Okay, is CPS here?
Yes, is here. You wanted me to have it released to the stepfather. Unable to locate the stepfather.
Okay, is the department here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
This is Megan.
Okay.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to unmute myself.
It's okay. So, my understanding, I remember somebody telling me, is that CPS was looking to take possession of this child.
So we had an open investigation that was basically called in as a result of a companion regarding Miss Kent's niece and nephew. There's nothing to investigate, but if Miss Kent's mom has not been released and cannot collect her child, then it's my understanding that ACH was, and technically that can be considered a reason for us to remove. It's not a great reason. We don't love that reason. She appears to be doing pretty well at home as far as having a job and stuff like that. But if her mom's not out of jail, elect her, then.
And then father can't be, I think father actually or stepfather kind of absconded from the situation.
It's my understanding, yes.
Right. All right, so. Alleged. I'm sorry, Mr. Kroll?
That it has been alleged, correct.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Barber, here's my thing is, what I'm seeing this is about the false police report that mom and brother also got arrested on. Mm-hmm. I really would not like to keep Ashley here. I don't think this is at this point an appropriate situation for her. There may be other times when it is appropriate. I just don't think this one is. Mm-hmm. And we really don't have anybody to release this child to.
Got it.
So what can we do?
So, I mean, in order for us to take possession of a child, we have to, write an affidavit and submit it to the judge. Mm-hmm. I've never had the instance where anyone has ordered a child into care, like right now. I've not ever had this happen. But I mean, if that's what we have to do, if we have to order her into care and maybe non-suit it when mom gets out, does that sound reasonable?
No, that sounds very reasonable.
So I can submit it to OCOK. My question is do on this side, because I don't have a CPS attorney present. So if you can give me, a little bit this morning, get with one of our attorneys and ask what documentation I need to submit to the court.
Sure.
Does that work?
No, that's fine. I think it'd just be an emergency possession
removal
of the child.
Okay.
Because there's no parent to take the child. If you need me to sign that to make it easier, I don't mind doing it. Judge Brown is downtown. She can do that as well, or any other district judges downtown. Whatever's easier for you guys. Can we set so if we can set a kind of a window for this, just so.
I can submit the placement recommendation okay in the next hour, and they'll have 4 hours to find a placement for her.
Fantastic.
And then
Oh no, I think she froze.
I'm gonna need to speak to her so that I can find an
Miss
approximate.
Barber?
Is there any way for me to?
Wait, Miss Barber?
I couldn't hear you. You were frozen.
Okay, there we
Okay.
go. You froze up, so the last thing we heard is you can send the request and they would
And-
have to act within 4 hours.
4 hours. And then, but I do need, in order for me to send a good request, would it be possible for me to talk to Ashley? I don't know if I can do it via Zoom. I'm kind of tethered to my desk for the moment. If I could talk to her just so I can get a good placement for her for the time that she's going to be there.
Okay, what we can do is we have a certain number of computers,
Uh-huh.
so we have to finish our detention hearings.
Okay.
You can either call our facility and
Okay.
Mr. Crawl can get you the number so you can talk on the phone.
Perfect.
If you would like to do it through Zoom, that's fine.
Phone
but
is fine.
you'll have to wait till probably about noonish or so.
No, phone is fine. I'd rather get it done sooner than later, so I can
Okay.
call. Okay,
Do you have Mr. Crawl's number?
I do.
Okay, yes, just call him and he can set up the phone call. Actually, I know this is frustrating for you. If anything, this means I don't want you here. There just has to be a place to release you. I cannot put a 15-year-old girl out on the streets. Right? That's not part of my job. So I have to have a place to put you with a responsible adult. Okay. So, but trust me, you would rather be at a temporary placement than here at Kimbo. Okay. I know you'd rather be at home with your mom, but that's not an option right now.
Is there a way I can speak to my mom?
I'm sorry?
Is there a way I can speak to my mother?
So maybe not from here, because there are absolutely zero phone calls from our detention facility to the adult jail, and that's by federal law. I cannot have you talk to anybody there, even if they are your mother. Okay? It's federal and state law, since your mom is in custody downtown. Right? Now, that being said, once you get out of here, you can call your mom, or if your mom gets out, she can call you. But there are many laws that prevent a juvenile that's in custody from ever talking to an adult who's in custody. Okay, so that's where the wall is that nobody can get around. All right. So this is not the news that you want to hear, and I'm sorry, but I hope you understand that Ms. Barber, Mr. Crawl, myself, Ms. Mills, we're all trying to do what we can to get you out of here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Barber. I appreciate you being here.
No problem. I'm going to call Mr. Call now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next one is Joseph Navarez.
Just talk about it.
All right, Mr. Navarez?
Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to make a decision whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 business days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent, but if you give up your right to remain silent, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you do have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. All right, so Mr. Navarez, you are 16 years old, and then so you have never been here before, but you're on probation out of Dallas County for an assault until January of next year. Dallas County placed you at a facility from January of this year until July of this year, in January of 18 to July of 18. Wait a minute, so you've been in placement up until last month for this whole year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you've been on intensive supervision twice, and you've been on electronic monitor 3 times. All right. Okay, so let's see. Yesterday, Fort Worth PD brought you in. They said around 4:50, the police were dispatched at 2000 Main Street regarding a shooting. When the officers arrived, they met with the victim, who was shot multiple times and treated at the hospital. An off-duty officer witnessed the incident and saw Joseph Navarez stand over the victim, pointing a black handgun and fired a round at him. Joseph then jumped into a tan GMC truck and headed southbound on Main. The off-duty officer followed the truck until assistance arrived and apprehended Joseph Navarez and his companion, Brian Rivas. Detectives interviewed both juveniles. Joseph admitted to detectives about the shooting and the theft of the victim's bag. So our offense report didn't say anything about theft of the bag. Is there something missing, Ms. Guerrero, or?
We haven't gotten the full report yet. We just.
Okay, so he admitted to the shooting and the theft of the bag, but I don't know anything else about the bag yet. Okay, so there's security footage showed Joseph committing the shooting and theft. Brian made a res geste statement that he knew Joseph was going to rob the victim, so they were both transported to our detention facility. All right, go up. Mr. Morales, I think you need to understand that here, I know it's your first interaction with Tarrant County, but here in Tarrant County, as the juvenile judge, I take children with guns with the highest level of seriousness. I just do not tolerate kids having guns unsupervised. Right? If your parents are with you, that's one thing. If you're by yourself, I have an issue with that. I think you're a danger to the community. I think you're a danger to yourself. I'm glad nobody else around you had a gun at the time that would have shot you, most likely, here in Fort Worth, in the stockyards. Anyways, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and detain you. And this case will proceed. You have been appointed an attorney. I think, Ms. Guerrero, have we notified Dallas of this?
Yes, Judge, we have.
Okay. Have they issued a DTA?
No, they haven't. I just looked and they have not.
Okay. Well,
Hey, sir. Sir, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
So you know what my charge that I'm facing right now?
Yeah, you're looking at, well, they said aggravated robbery. I don't know if there's enough for the aggravated robbery. I know there's enough for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, right? So if you were, potentially if you're certified as an adult, you're looking at up to 20 years in prison. If you stay in the juvenile, as an adult, you would look at between 2 and 20 years in prison. As a juvenile, you're looking at 0 years up to 20 years in commitment with a possible transfer to adult prison before your 19th birthday. Okay, now that's on the aggravated assault. If this turns out that there's enough for an aggravated robbery, which it kind of indicates it might, you're looking at, if you're certified as an adult, up to 99 years or life in prison. Okay? So I just want to let you know, these are very serious matters. The best thing you can do is help your attorney, right, by keeping your behavior level high. If you keep your behavior level 1.0, that is evidence that can be used to help you in your case. And
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Well, can I finish my sentence first?
Yes, sir. My bad, sir. I'm sorry.
That's right. So if your behavior level is 1 outstanding this whole time, then that gives the attorney a chance to argue why you deserve probation because you've changed. I do believe juveniles change. They can be redeemed. I'm not a judge that sends a kid away and buries them under the jail. I believe every kid can be saved. Some children choose not to, but they all can be. Now, here's the thing. If your behavior level goes down, you're like level 3, you're getting in fights, like, I don't know, maybe you're in a gang and you're doing gang-related stuff here at our facility, then the DA will use that. Here, the DA is one of these Zoom sessions, and they're taking notes, and they will use that against you and give a reason why you need more punishment or go to prison. Okay? Now, what was your question?
Sir, I was going to ask you, ain't no chance y'all can send me to TYC?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That is a chance. I can't see, as a judge, I can't predict what I'm going to do. I don't have all the evidence. There will be a trial, and at the trial, the district attorney will have the chance to present all their evidence. Your attorney will have a chance to produce all of your evidence. And then as a judge, I'll make a decision. If your attorney decides that they don't like me in this case, then a jury would be able to make that decision. And TYRC is an option. That would be part of probation, though. Okay, so right now it's the idea of, do you get committed to TJJD, which is prison for kids, all right? Right now, this is what's called an indeterminate sentence. So today, if you get committed, then you go to TJJD all the way up to your 19th birthday. It depends on until you actually rehabilitate and you make changes and you show that you're safe to release. Now, if the DA tries to certify you as an adult, then TJJD is no longer an option. You're looking at TDC, and you could be there up until you're 99 years or for life. Okay, so I'm just letting you know these are the possibilities. TYRC is possible. I do need to let you know that I think the general word on the street is I'm a little tougher than Dallas County. Okay?
No, I ain't gonna lie. I heard about that though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am in Rodriguez, but you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hey, Joseph.
Sir.
Stop talking, okay? We'll talk later.
Okay. That's your attorney, Frank Adler. If your attorney's advising you not to talk, I advise you to follow his advice. Okay?
It's on my bad, so I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. This is not your trial. This is not about whether you did or not. I'm not sentencing you or giving you probation, anything like that. Right now, I'm just letting you know I'm not going to let you go because I think you're a danger. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Adler. All right. Daniel Pena. All right, Mr. Pena. Waiting on Mr. Pena. All right. The next one, Bethany Renteria. Bethany Renteria, please. Okay. Brian Rivas. Can we have Brian Rivas?
Judge Kim,
Yes.
Bethany is assigned to me, but I don't see her.
Yes, I know, and I'm not blaming you. All right, Brian Rivas for the third time. The fourth time, Carlos Santos. Carlos Santos? Detention, I need Carlos Santos.
Judge Kim, all the kids you're calling are from Hotel Pod, so Mr. Hector's up there.
All right, Jajuan Varela. Jajuan Varela. Jajuan Varela.
Judge, I have a Nathaniel. He looks like he's the one next.
Well, yeah, 3 minutes ago. Like, where was he?
We're putting his PPE on, sir.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not trying to bust on you, but why would this PPE on and him ready to go? I mean, and I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying what is the policy? Do they just not pull the kids out of the room until after I call their name, or was he causing problems?
No. He was inside his room, and protocol didn't allow me to have his PPE all inside. So whenever he came out, that's when he proceeded to put it on. So they're not allowed to have either the blue gown and the gloves inside the room.
I mean, I get that. So how many more kids do we have to put on? How many more kids are on Hotel Pod?
We, after him, we have 3 more, sir.
So are we gonna have to wait between each one?
No, it was a miscommunication between me and him.
Okay.
I advised him as soon as the last youth came out of his room to proceed and put his stuff on. He misunderstood me. That was a issue, sir.
Okay, I can live with that one. That seems legit. All right, so you're Nathaniel Pena?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm Judge Kim.
Can I lower my mask?
You can lower it if you'd like. So this is a detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to make a decision whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. All right, Nathaniel, you are 16 years old, and see, previously you were here when you were 12 for an assault bodily injury. You got deferred prosecution from our probation department. And then, let's see, you're still 12 years old. You get a contempt of court charge. Ed, do you remember this one? It's another 10. Okay. And then you're still 12 years old. There's interfering with a 911 call. And then 2 months later, you pick up an assault family violence, which you got probation for. Mr. Ainsley, is he still on probation?
Judge, this one's mine. He is not on probation. He completed it.
Okay, good. All right, Nathaniel, let's see. On August 7th, around 10:20, police were dispatched for a call about somebody with a gun. The police ordered the occupants of the house to get out. 4 females exited, and then Nathaniel complied and exited. Your mom said to the police that you were upset, saying that someone took $300 from you. When no one responded, he went to one room where he flashed his gun to one sister. And then according to Sister Nathaniel, never pointed a gun or said he was going to shoot anybody. When the officers got consent to search, they found a backpack hidden in the dryer. The backpack contained a Smith & Wesson 9mm, 0.38 grams of a green leafy substance, a controlled substance believed to be mushrooms, as well as gloves. So you're arrested. Miss Blair, were the drugs found in the backpack?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, and we're testing you and you're positive for marijuana. And I guess that DPP and probation didn't really help you that much. Okay. Well, Nathaniel, that's one thing. If you think family stole from you, but it's crazy to think that you'd flash a gun at your own blood. So Nathaniel, I see your hand. So let me say something first. You have the right to remain silent. If you want to talk about this case, I'd probably advise you not to. This is not your trial, okay? This is simply about whether I think it's safe to release you or if I think it's better to keep you here in our detention facility, okay? That being said, is there something you want to say or do you have a question for me?
There was something I wanted to say.
Okay, if it's something you want to say, if it's about what happened on the 7th, my advice to you and your attorney's advice to you is not to say it at all, okay? Because probably cannot help you. Now, if you want to talk, you certainly can. Yes, sir?
Can I speak to my mom real quick?
Well, your mom can call you, right? But I'm not going to stop our whole detention docket so you can have a conversation with your mom, okay?
Yes, sir.
So, all right. That being said, Mr. Pena, I have great concern anytime we have a kid with a gun. That's just one of those things that I've established since I got here, is I do not tolerate children with guns unless they're supervised by their parents, okay? The fact that there's drugs involved also, that gives me even bigger concern because you would be amazed how many kids get shot or shoot people over something silly like weed, okay? Happens every day. So this makes me very uncomfortable to release you. What it looks like is, well, one, it looks like you had a gun. Two, it also looks like you had a gun and you're dealing drugs. And so either buying or selling, and that gives me great concern too. So I think you're a danger to yourself as well as the community. I'm going to go ahead and detain you for now. That's not to say I'm not going to release you. I'm saying right now I have to be comfortable before I release you. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pena.
Thanks, Judge.
Bethania Renteria. This is a really simple formula, I think. Kids and guns.
Here.
All right, Bethany?
Here.
Hello, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. So the law says when a child is brought to our facility, you have to see a judge within 2 days. Wait, this is, oh, okay. You have to see a judge within 2 days and have to decide whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you do have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. All right, so Bethany, you have never been here before. You're almost 16 this month. All right. Let's see. On Saturday, the police were working on an attempt to locate a youth after receiving a call from the youth's mother. Mom said that the girl was asking for mom to come and pick her up, but the mom wasn't able to do so since she was in Austin. She was located at the laundromat on Alta Mesa. Around noon, when they got there, they went in there. They found the female matching the description and an unknown white male seated on a bench with a phone between them. When they asked her if her name was Bethany, she said yes. So they confirmed that you were a runaway as well as confirmed with a tattoo. And Bethany, you're 15, you already have tattoos? Oh, come on. See, look at you right now. You're not proud of it, right? I mean, maybe at the time you thought it was a good idea, but see, when you do things like tattoos, you know you're setting up this conversation later on, right? And it may be a great tattoo, it may be a beautiful tattoo, but I can tell right now by your body language, you're not proud of the tattoo. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Don't worry, I'm not judging you on the tattoo. I just want to have that little conversation with you. Okay, so, well, I got a question. Ms. Lazarova, what is the tattoo of? Do we know?
I can find out in a second.
Okay. All right, so the officer puts you in handcuffs. You're placed in the back of the car and brought to our detention facility. They confirm that you are on probation out of Austin for criminal trespass. Your probation was to expire August 13th. So now you're facing 3 counts of assault of a peace officer or a judge from November of 18, July of 19, and April 20, and failure to ID in May of 20. They issued a warrant on August 7th for a violation of court order. So they are planning on coming and picking you up on Monday before detention hearing, but I guess they didn't make it. But so, okay, today they told us they're picking you up tomorrow to take you back to Travis County. All right. So, Ms. Lazarova?
Yes, sir.
There is an active DTA from Travis County, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. All right.
They are. They have said that they will come and accept custody tomorrow.
Okay. By the way, Ms. Lazarova, I do miss talking to you over the weekends on these.
Oh, yes, sir. Me too. Nice to see you.
Okay, so Brittany, here's the deal. What the law says is when a child is brought here, I have to find there's probable cause that you violated the law. Okay, that means can somebody put into words if you assume that it's true that you broke the law? Then the fact that a judge signed a warrant out of Travis County, I can assume that it's a valid warrant. Okay, so the next step is to have it feel like you're not going to appear. This is basically there's a warrant for you out of Travis County, and so I'm just going to hold you until they pick you up tomorrow. Okay, so just letting you know you're going back to Austin. Okay, there's not much you can do about it. Hopefully you get your things straightened out. I hope things are okay with you, Brittany, and I mean that like sincerely, like heart to heart. Like I know there's a lot of things going in your life. I hope things get better. I'm just saying this because I'll never see you again, but a lot of times bad things happen. Good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions. Okay, every adult will agree with that. So hopefully the situation that you're in right now is something that you made some bad decisions, but you're learning from this. That way, looking forward, becoming a young woman, that you can make better decisions. Looking back on the mistakes that you made. Fair enough? Sorry for being all preachy on you right now. I just know I'll never see you again, so I'm just trying to give you words of encouragement that nothing's so bad, the situation can't get worse, but it can always get better. Okay? Okay, thank you, Brittany.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, Brian Rivas. Hello, Ms. Beaver.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Hey, Mary had talked to me about the one where you filed a motion to withdraw. You can set up a hearing, but you know, with court appointments, it kind of sets a different standard on withdrawing.
Okay, Your Honor, I did just receive today the signed motion from the respondent.
Yeah, but can you promise me that she's not going to have problems with the next attorney I appoint?
Your Honor, I don't know that I'm able to make that promise. I'm sorry.
Now you see my problem, right? So, but yeah, that is the burden every court appointed defense attorney has, right, Ms. Herrick?
If you would like me to reach out to her, I will, and perhaps I could speak about this later.
Right. Come on by or call me or whatever.
Your Honor, the parents are asking if anybody can speak Spanish.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, Mr. Beaver. All right, so were you here earlier when we did the companion case on this?
I was, Your Honor, yes.
Okay, good. So I'm just going to admonish the child. And Brian, you speak English, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Beaver, I'm going to admonish Brian, and then I'll give you a chance to go ahead and tell the parents what Brian's rights are. Okay?
Thank you, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Rivas, this is a detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to make a decision to keep you in custody or release you. This is not your trial, okay? You have certain rights. So when you're brought into our facility, you have to see a judge within 2 days. I have to decide whether to release you or keep you in custody. If I release you, or if I keep you in custody, the law says you have a right to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you do have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. All right, Mr. Beaver?
Thank you, Your Honor. Señorita Rivas, habla Larry Beaver, soy el abogado. Ya hablamos hoy, usted y yo. El juez estaba dándole los derechos a su hijo sobre este proceso hoy, la audiencia. Y su hijo tiene el derecho de tener una audiencia con el juez dentro de 2 días de haber sido detenido. Y cada 10 días tiene el derecho de volver a hablar con el juez para determinar si él debe de quedarse detenido o no. El proceso hoy, la audiencia de hoy es nada más para determinar si él va a quedarse detenido o no es el juicio hoy. Nada más para determinar si va a quedarse detenido. Y Brian tiene el derecho de permanecerse callado. Si él decide que no quiere permanecerse callado, entonces el fiscal del estado y el juez no puede usar lo que diga en su contra en el juicio. Ya hablé con Brian sobre eso. Y si Brian quiere hablar conmigo, Brian, por favor, levante la mano si quiere hablar conmigo. Okay, gracias. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Beaver. All right, so Brian, you are 16 years old. You've never been here with this department before. Mr. Ainsley, is he from Fort Worth, from Tarrant County?
No, Judge, it's assigned to me, but he resides in Dallas County.
Okay. All right, so yesterday, Brian, the police are saying at about 4:50, police were dispatched to 2000 Main Street here in Fort Worth about a shooting. When the officers got there, they met with a victim who was shot multiple times and treated at the hospital. An off-duty police officer witnessed the incident and saw Joseph Navarro stand over the victim, pointing a black handgun and shot a round at him. Then Joseph jumped into a tan GMC and headed south on Main. Off-duty police followed the truck, waited for assistance, and they apprehended Joseph and Brian Rivas. Mr. Ainsley, was Brian the driver?
Judge, the report did not detail that, but when I spoke with the parents, they did say that Brian was gone yesterday with Dad's truck.
Okay. And Dad has a tan GMC truck?
I did not confirm that with Dad.
Mr. Beaver, can you ask Dad if he has a tan pickup truck?
Yes, Your Honor. Señor Rivas, ¿usted es el dueño de una camioneta GMC de color café claro?
Sí.
So, yes, Your Honor, he is.
That's tan in Spanish? Café claro?
Yes, sir.
That is. I was waiting, Mr. Beaver, to see how you would say tan. All right. So, let's see. Detectives then interviewed both juveniles. Joseph admitted to the detectives about the shooting and theft of the bag that the victim was holding. Security footage showed that Joseph committing the shooting and theft. Brian made a res geste statement that he knew Joseph was going to rob the victim, and both were transported to JPD. All right. All right, so Mr. Rivas, I'm going to let you know, just because I went ahead and let your compadre know that in Texas, well, so we have something called the law of parties. Have you heard that term before? No? Brian? Okay, the law of parties is when 2 or more people get together and plan a crime, either plan, commit, or benefit from a crime together. They can all be individually and separately guilty of the same crime. Okay? So the example is, let's say you, or let's say me, your mom, and your dad decide to rob a bank. Okay? And we plan it in your mom's kitchen. She tells us how to do this. She stays home. Your dad and I go to rob the bank. And, you know, I'm the getaway driver. Your dad goes in, gives him a note, and says, I have the money. Well, the security guard there, this old guy, shaky hands and everything, starts shooting his gun, kills a customer. But during a robbery, somebody was killed. That means your dad could face capital murder charges, okay? But since I helped commit the crime as a getaway driver, I could also face the death penalty. your mom who helped plan this could also face the death penalty. So in Texas, basically says anybody that is part of a crime together, they're all guilty of the same crime, no matter what role they have, okay? So it looks to me is that you're a part of at least an aggravated assault where somebody got shot, could be an aggravated robbery, right? But if you were a getaway driver, if you knew about it, you helped plan it or commit it, then you could be guilty of the same crime, even though you didn't actually have a gun or pull the trigger. That's just what our law is. I want to let you know how serious this is, okay? Because in here, if it's an aggravated assault, which is the bare minimum that I can see this as, this you're looking at up to 20 years in prison, okay? And you'd be transferred to adult prison on before your 19th birthday. If this continues as an aggravated robbery, all right, then this can go all the way up to 99 years or life in prison. Right? So we're talking about a very serious matter right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and detain you because I'm not comfortable releasing you because there was a gun involved in a shooting, okay? Now, that being said, nobody puts a gun in your actual hand. That certainly goes in your favor. It may mean that you get released sooner, it may not. I'm not making you promises. I'm just saying I recognize the difference between you and what they're saying that Joseph did. Now, back there, you understand these behavior levels. You need to be a 1-0. You need to give your attorney as much as possible, all right, to work on your behalf to get you probation or to fight your case. If you're level 1-0, it helps them. If you drop down and you're level 3 in our behavior level list, then that's something that the district attorney will use against you to say, this kid needs prison. Probation is not for him because he can't behave, okay? So pay attention to behavior levels, make sure you're following the rules like you're supposed to, all right? Now, because I'm detaining you, you have a right to see a judge every 10 days while you're here, okay? You have any questions for me?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, Brian. All right, Mr. Beavers, I know this is not the time, but if you can call the parents and explain what happened to them.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Carlos Santos. Hello, Ms. Johnson. How are you?
Morning. How are you?
Doing well. Did you have a good weekend?
Well, it was okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, you know, pretty soon your bad luck's going to run out. You got nothing but
Let's hope.
It's got to happen that way. So, and you deserve a good streak of good luck.
I hope. I would like that.
Well, it's not that I hope. I know you deserve it. I just hope it comes.
Thank you.
All right. So, Carlos Santos, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there we are. Okay, Mr. Santos. So I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to make a decision whether to keep you in custody or to release you. By keeping you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. Okay, so Carlos, see what's going on. You have been here before, and you turn 17 next month. All right. So, starting when you're 14, you picked up a weed case. Our probation department gave you a supervisory caution. Then you turn 15, and you pick up a theft case, which the DA dismissed it. Then this year, you're 16, you take a weed case. Then we'd let you out, and in 2 weeks, you get arrested for weed again. For some reason, thought you need deferred prosecution. So it's his third weed case, and it's deferred prosecution because, you know, we can't see any pattern or problem here. And surprise, surprise, now you pick up another weed case. Like, Mary, one would think that he's just tired of coming here. But I guess there's something about marijuana that makes it worth it. Oh, that's true. Hey, so Carlos, is this the first time you've been inside Kimbo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that's Mary, eternally hopeful. All right, so we gave you a drug test, and you're positive for marijuana and cocaine and Xanax, benzodiazepines. Mom, are you here?
Yes.
Okay. You heard what I just said, right?
Yes.
Okay. The cocaine scares you and me both, doesn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so police brought you in about 2:20 in the morning on August 7th. Even Friday. Mom, why was he out at 2:20 in the morning on a Friday morning?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I didn't know he was in home.
Right, okay. Now, Mom, I'm not trying to beat you up. I really, if you get to know me, I truly, I'm a big supporter of parents. Like, you and I need to work together. All right, so they were doing patrol on Brown Boulevard when we saw a white Chevrolet Malibu sitting in the parking lot of a strip mall. When they got there, saw a Hispanic male inside making furtive movements towards the passenger seat and reaching under the driver's seat. So the police called for backup, parked his patrol car. Carlos placed his vehicle in reverse and started backing up, at which the police initiated the traffic stop. Another officer got there. They made contact with Carlos. They were concerned because of his movements inside the car, so they just told him that they would search the car. At that time, Carlos admitted to having weed in the pocket of a backpack. They noticed a baggie containing a green leafy substance in the backpack at ½ an ounce, on a burnt glass pipe and scales. So he was placed under arrest. They also found a green rectangular pill in a coin pocket of his pants. Carlos said it was Xanax and said he did not have a prescription for it. What do you think, Mom?
To be honest with you, Your Honor, I think he needs help.
The kid's almost 17, right?
Yes.
And I know he needs help, so let me ask you this, and again, this is not me trying to beat you up, but this is kind of a pattern of behavior. Like, it seems to me he's needed help for a while. So why hasn't he gotten help before?
Because I really wasn't aware of what he was doing.
I mean, he's almost 17. I mean, it's not like you can physically hold him down. It's not like you can spank him anymore, right?
Right.
I get that. Well, here's the thing. All right. So, Carlos, my biggest concern, like, the weed is whatever. I mean, that's your choice to make. That's your choice to make. Cocaine really bothers me. Okay. Really, really bothers me. So, I'll tell you what, normally what I would do is I would just release you on a drug patch to make sure you're not using drugs. But we're not doing drug patches right now because of coronavirus. And so I'm just going to go ahead and detain you until we start the drug patch program again. And once we do, then I'll go ahead and release you. Okay, on the drug patch to make sure you're not using drugs. This is just a consequence of your decision. Okay?
Judge, technically, nobody knows he had drugs on him. No drug tests have come back. No lab tests are back to say any of that. And if he could do UAs or hair follicles, it would be the same as the drug patch.
Well, not necessarily. The UAs will really be good on the marijuana, unless he's going to come in every 3 days on a UA. That would be the same thing as a drug patch. It's just, if he's willing to pay for it, yeah. I mean, so the cost to the county and the taxpayers on drug tests versus the drug patch is substantial, because drug patch we just do every other week. It gives a very immediate result.
But he could come in and do a UA once per week, and then the county wouldn't be spending money for him to live there every day either.
But the cocaine, right? I mean, the cocaine is the big problem for me. That makes it an every 72-hour issue instead of, and that's the thing about drug patch, it's a 24/7 monitoring. The hair follicle, that's waiting for the results on the hair follicle makes it worse. And plus, if we did a hair follicle test every week for him,
No.
he would have no hair left, right? So that's another potential problem. We'll find out. Yeah, it's the cocaine that gets me. It's like, I'm not asking for the monthly, but you're right. I mean, we have that cost. So I'm trying to balance this out, Ms. Johnson. Like, I get it. We have the cost of detaining him versus the cost of the test. The problem is, if we're going to test every 3 days on a UA, the resources involved by the JPD staff to do that, I mean, I just need some kind of active monitor. If there was no cocaine, I'd just do monthly. I'm okay with that. The problem is with the cocaine, we're talking about 3 days for it to process. Like, it's got to be a 72-hour window on the drug testing. I'm open to suggestions, but those hard street drugs really bother me. Guns really bother me. And of course, he turns 17 in a matter of weeks now, anyways, where he would just go downtown. Right. So, at what point do we really worry? So, I don't know, Ms. Johnson. Come up with an idea. All right. I'm open to ideas. At this point, I want to settle on the drug test, but Ms. Johnson, you've always been very persuasive with me. So I'm open to ideas.
Maybe I can ask the mom, do you have access to any kind of medical care that would include treatment and or testing?
We have insurance. I don't know if they'll be able to do it. Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Well, maybe we could set up a way, Judge, to do testing weekly.
Okay.
Weekly doesn't get me there because of the cocaine.
Can
right?
I have a question?
Yes.
How was the cocaine used? Was it in the marijuana or?
No idea. I just know he used it. So.
And it could have been something from 2 months ago. I mean, there's no way to know at this point.
No, it had to be in the last 72 hours. It was a UA.
Oh yeah, it was a UA. Yeah.
So yeah, he used it.
You're gonna remain silent.
Yeah. Carlos, your attorney does not want you to talk. I know that with certainty. So Mom, we know for a fact he used marijuana within 72 hours before Friday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. So it was that recent. So yeah, which is scary because I'm sure you saw him Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. At some point when you saw him, he was high. Which probably makes you more concerned. So, yeah, Ms. Johnson, I'm open to ideas. The cocaine is the hanging point for me. A way of actively monitoring him.
Does the court have any idea when the patch may be available again?
That's up to Juvenile Probation Department. That's really up to them. Like, I have no control over that. It's their contract and their vendor and their nursing staff that administers that.
But if the parent's insurance company also had that option or had that availability, would the court be inclined to allow that?
If the insurance company will directly send the results to us, yes.
Okay.
Fine too.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Carlos, so you understand where you're at, right? You understand why the cocaine is really getting to me. That's the hang up. If it was weed, I'll just do monthly testing and let you out. The fact that the Xanax doesn't help. I'm sorry?
Honestly, didn't know I had it, but.
Okay, hold on. Your attorney does not want you to talk. And here's the thing. It doesn't help you to lie to me. Lying to me never works. I am telling you, you use cocaine, right? You may not have known it, but you used it. The way you test positive for cocaine is you use cocaine. That's just the way it is, okay? So, all right, Carlos, so hopefully this is just something that you can look forward and make better decisions in the future, all right? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and order you detained. Ms. Johnson, I am literally, honestly open to ideas.
Okay.
All right, so Jawan Varela. All right, Mr. Villa, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. The law says when a child is brought to a facility, you have to see a judge within 2 days and have to decide whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. All right, so Mr. Varela, you are 16. Wow, you just turned 16 2 weeks ago. All right, you've never been here before. See, on Friday, Fine PD brought you in. They're saying at around midnight, police saw a vehicle driving without headlights and not staying in a proper lane, thinking the driver may be intoxicated. So there's a traffic stop. Driver swerved, accelerated to evade the officer, going up to 120 miles an hour. Lost control of the vehicle on a curve, striking a tree head on. The driver, Juan Varela, attempted to flee on foot, but when the police drew his service weapon, ordered him to stop and get on the ground, Juan listened to the officer. Noteworthy that Juan had somebody on his phone who was egging him on and yelling he was recording the phone call. Additionally, Juan made comments to the officers bragging about speeds he reached and stated, "I saw your red and blue lights, dusted you, bro. Fuck you. I was ready to meet my maker. That was crazy." When assistants arrived, officers checked Juan for medical attention and transported here. It's determined that the car Juan was driving was from the order his father was picking up.
He's the over the road driver. He's picking up photos. They're from North Carolina.
Okay, so father was hauling cars and Juan stole part of the cargo. So dad said Juan was sitting in the car when he was preparing to load onto his truck and he took off in it. So, yeah, so dad had to finish the transport and he's in North Carolina, but willing to pick up Juan. Well, all right, Juan, you are threatening suicide, which is going to be a great concern. And so I want to go ahead and order a psychological evaluation. I think we need to do this just to make sure. All right. And I don't know, it's bad enough that you ran from the cops. When you make those comments after that, it just, remember, there's no situation in life that's so bad that it can't get worse. You just made that a little bit worse. So anyways, clearly you put the public in danger, put yourself in danger. I'm not comfortable releasing you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and order you detained. All right, and let's see. So at this point, that concludes my portion of the detention hearings. Judge Porter is here. That's going to continue with the rest of the detention hearings for the day. Thank you, Judge Porter.
Thank you, Judge Kim. Good morning, everyone. All right.
Good morning.
Sergio Alonso Hernandez.
Your Honor, we waived.
He cannot waive. He's on level 2.
Oh, okay. I thought they had to be on level 3 not to waive.
No, they must be on level 1 to earn the right to waive.
Hey, Sergio, I'm sorry I told you we could waive. I thought you had to be on level 3 not to be able to waive, but it's level 2. He's been on level 1 until recently, I think.
All right, are you Mr. Hernandez?
Yes.
Is that a yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention, you must see a judge within 2 business days. If you're detained, then you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day detention hearing. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there is something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Remember, you've got the right to remain silent. Ms. Abels is your attorney. Do you see Ms. Abels on the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Mitchell. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mr. Mitchell. What brings Mr. Hernandez to court today? Is Mr. Mitchell here?
No, he's on vacation. Somebody is supposed to be covering for.
All right.
He's on vacation, Judge.
I got that, Ms. Abels. Thank you.
I don't remember who he told me was covering.
Okay. All right, Sergio, according to the police, you were referred in custody by the Fort Worth Police Department on directive to apprehend back in May for a runaway and for 2 new offenses of unlawfully carrying a weapon and evading arrest or detention. According to the police report, at a little after 4:30 in the morning, officers was dispatched to an investigation on 29th Street in reference to someone being shot at. Upon arrival, the police saw 2 males in the street around the corner from them where the original call came from. The officers approached the individuals and informed them what was going on. The officers then noticed a black handgun in your pocket. You began to run away, threw the gun in the backyard of a nearby home, and continued running. You were eventually found in the bushes across the street and placed under arrest. All right. So Judge Kim has already determined that probable cause exists to believe that you engaged in delinquent conduct. You were on level 1.0 back on August 7th, but now today you're level 2 acceptable. What happened?
He was talking, Judge. That's all he was doing. He'd been talking the whole time, and then all of a sudden he, gets dinged for talking again.
Well, but you don't go from 1.0 to 2A for just talking a little bit.
I didn't say a little bit. I don't know how much he was talking. And he and I have discussed that. I told him, it's unnatural to be somewhere where you can't talk, but he's somewhere he can't talk.
Sergio, what does your behavior need to be before I can consider your release?
Oh, 1.
Uh-huh. And I need you to maintain it for me, right? You haven't done that yet, have you? So what do I need to do?
I guess you're gonna tame me?
Yes, sir. And why?
Come to level 1?
Because you're not level 1. I need you to prove to me, once you prove to me that you can behave in the back, then it gives me reason to believe that you can behave at home, okay?
Yes, sir.
So you haven't done that yet. All right. So between now and 10 business days, 2 calendar weeks, I need you to do that so that Ms. Abels is able to come in here and argue that you should be released. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. It's in your hands. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That'll be the order of the court. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Your Honor.
All right. Braden Marquise Hood. Good morning, Mr. Hood. My name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not blurt it out. Instead, I'll create a private internet chat room for you and your attorney, Ms. Herrick, to talk about what you want to say. That way she can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Do you see Ms. Herrick on the screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Gonzalez, what brings Mr. Hood back to court?
Good morning, Your Honor. Yes, this is Braden's 10-day detention hearing. He was actually referred into our department on July the 25th for the offense of possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana under 2 ounces, unlawful carrying of a weapon, and lastly, ag robbery. All of those cases have been referred over to the district attorney's office. According to the police report, on July the 24th, 2020, Detective Youngblood and Detective Kidd were assigned to an aggravated robbery that occurred at about 8:46 p.m. at the address of 934 East Copeland Road in Arlington, Texas. Victim reported that she made arrangements to purchase a cell phone from an individual she met via Instagram under the name of Number 5. The suspect reported arriving to this address And she reported that the suspect arrived in a green Kia Soul. He apparently displayed a handgun and pointed it at her, then demanded her money. Victim gave him her brown fanny pack, which contained $480 cash, an ID card, a food stamp card, and a Cash App card. Victim was described as a driver and a young black male with medium dreads and stated a bad acne. There were two other suspects in the vehicle. Both were described as black males with dark complexions and medium dreads. The victim further stated that she possibly knew the suspect from school and described a tattoo on his right forearm that said "Trill with flowers." Detectives researched the Instagram name and saw a black male that matched the description. The tattoo could also be seen on the photo. The suspect posted short videos with other individuals in a vehicle that appeared to be a green Kia Soul in the background. Detectives further researched the subject name and saw that his name was Mr. Braden Hood, then that he had prior history involving other prior arrangements made through Instagram, where he was purchasing cell phones or selling cell phones. According to the police report on July the 25th, Arlington PD detained Mr. Hood and another individual. They were apprehended in the green Kia Soul, which was suspected to have been used in the ag robbery. Officers observed guns in the vehicle. At that point, Mr. Hood was arrested and transported over to our detention center.
He has been level 10 since August 1st. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And does he have a parent or guardian here today?
Your Honor, his mother was supposed to be available via Zoom. However, I do not see her on here this morning. Her name is Sparkle McGilvery.
Yeah, I remember Miss McGilvery.
Yes.
All right, Miss Herrick.
Sorry, did he just say her name was Sparkle? Sparkle? Also, this is my red flag thing. When I wave this means that's a red flag. And while I'm muted, I'm probably yelling at the screen. So anyways, let's continue with Sparkle.
Yes, Your Honor. He has been on level 10 for 10 days. At his last detention hearing, it's my understanding that Judge Kim, am I muted?
I can barely hear you.
Okay.
Just yell.
Okay. My voice is a little, it's almost gone anyway. He has been on level 10 for 10 days, as he was encouraged to do by Judge Kim at his last detention hearing. His mom is not present today, but he's been in contact with her during the time he's been in detention, and she does want him to come home. She is willing to come up and get him immediately if he's released. And so we do ask for his release today.
All right. Miss Herrick, I thank you. I want to talk to Miss McGilvery before I release him. And so because she's not here, I'm going to have to order you, Mr. Hood, that you be detained. However, Miss Herrick, if you can arrange for her to be here to talk to either to myself or Judge Cherry or Judge Kim, because we need a little bit more information from her, then especially request that.
And so as another detention hearing or as just a appearance in court?
At another detention hearing, especially set detention hearing.
You got it.
But right now, I don't feel comfortable without directly talking to the parent, because she's had some problems in the past, and I want to be able to assess how Mr. Hood has been doing while he's back in detention in repairing that relationship with mom.
Okay.
That's what I'm needing. I need to hear that from mom before I can just let him go. Because she and I've talked before. So anyway, that'll be the order of the court. Thank you, Mr. Hood.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. All right, Damian Lopez.
Yes.
Are you Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez, the law says when you're brought into detention, you have to see a judge within 2 business days. If you're detained, you have to see a judge every 10 business days or 2 calendar weeks thereafter. This is your 10-day detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. That'll also get the attention of your attorney, Mr. Green. I'll create a private internet chat room for you, Mr. Green, to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Do you see Mr. Green on your screen?
No, sir.
Mr. Green, can you speak up?
I'm right here.
I still don't see him, sir.
Keep talking, Mr. Green.
I'm right here. I'm probably at the top of your screen.
Now I see him. Now I see him.
All right. There we go. All right, Mr. Lewis, what brings Mr. Lopez back to court?
Your Honor, Damian was referred by the Fort Worth Police Department on July 26th on charges. He was initially arrested on charges of evading arrest and unlawful carrying of a weapon and discharging a firearm in certain municipalities. About a week after that arrest, the police sent in a related charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Probable cause for the charges at 4:46 a.m. Fort Worth police responded to the Northeast 27th Street vicinity on a 911 call. The caller indicated that persons were shooting at her. Without further detail, upon arriving in the area, police identified 2 Hispanic male subjects, ordered them to stop. Both fled on foot. A foot pursuit ensued. Officers made loud commands identifying themselves as police, and the suspects refused to stop. The 2 responding officers respectively pursued the 2 fleeing suspects, but a gun was reportedly tossed during one of the chases. A decision was made to concentrate on investigating and apprehending that suspect. I believe that was the prior detention hearing that you heard. While they were apprehending that suspect, police heard 3 consecutive shots approximately 1 block from their location. Officers located Damian walking on Azle Avenue due to his proximity in the time frame when the shots were fired. The officer held him at gunpoint until another officer arrived. And they allegedly located a silver .38 caliber revolver between 2 sets of shorts. The revolver had 3 spent shell casings in the barrel. When ran, the gun was reported stolen in a burglary of a motor vehicle sometime earlier. Damian was taken into custody on the 3 charges mentioned earlier, and the police, as stated earlier, sent in an aggravated assault charge in reference to the original 911 caller reporting being shot at by the juveniles while she was calling police to report the theft of her EBT card.
And when he came in on July 26th, did he receive a drug test?
He did, yes, sir.
What were the results of that test?
Positive for benzodiazepines and marijuana, John.
In his favor, he has been level 1-0 since August 7th.
Yes, sir.
And does he have a parent or guardian here today?
No, sir. I spoke with his grandmother this morning, and she had to work, but she indicated a willingness to pick him up if the judge was willing to release him.
Does he have any prior referrals to the department?
Yes, sir. From December of 2019, an assault with bodily injury that was returned to intake with probable cause by the DA's office.
What does that mean?
Supervisory cautioned.
All right. So, Mr. Green, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, I'd request that you let Mr. Lopez go into the custody of his grandmother, given that he did honor part of his bargain to be on level 1. The district attorney has provided me some of the evidence in the case. I've only been a chance to review a little bit of it. Some of it came in today. But I can't actually speak to the strength of that case.
What bargain with Judge Kim?
Well, it was just be on level 1. He is doing that. He is behaving in the back. And
I don't see anything in our notes that Judge Kim made that promise to him.
I don't think it was a promise, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. It was just a general encouragement to get to level 1-0.
Yes, Your Honor, and he's doing that. Obviously, he's not in trouble with staff.
Okay. So he was brought in on the 26th. It took him, the better part of almost 2 weeks to get to level 1-0 when it should have taken 3 days, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What does that suggest to me?
Well, he's a young man, Your Honor. He's under a lot of stress. This is a different environment for him. He knows he's in trouble with the law. He's been behaving for Mr. Lewis recently, so that's why I suggest you return him to his grandmother's care.
All right. Let's put Mr. Reed on the spot. Mr. Reed, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, it's an offense involving a handgun, and I don't think we've really got specific details if the grandmother actually can provide adequate supervision of someone who's fleeing police and in possession of handguns. So I just would say, for the safety of the community, that, you know, we leave that to your evaluation if there's adequate supervision.
Put your hand down, Mr. Lopez. All right. Mr. Reed has a good point that I feel better directly talking with grandmother because 4 in the morning is a little disturbing. 2 guns involved, 2 kids. This is in Kimbo's backyard. There are all sorts of scary things associated with this. Plus inconsistent behavior in detention. And so we need a little bit better proof of his ability to follow the rules in the back. And we need to talk to his grandmother, okay? However, Mr. Green, if let's let him maintain level 1-0 for the next 7 calendar days. And if Mr. Green, you can get grandmother here next Monday. If Mr. Lopez maintains level 1-0 between now and next Monday, then we'll talk to grandmother and see how it goes, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. But for now, Mr. Lopez, I'm going to order that you be detained, okay?
Thanks, sir.
Hey, keep maintaining level 1-0 for me, okay? That's going to give me a good reason to consider letting you go. But if you're not level 1-0, you're not going home next Monday for sure, okay?
Next Monday, if I'm a level 1, I'll for sure go home.
No, I'm not going to make that promise to you. That's what I need to consider. It's going to depend on how the talk goes with your grandmother, okay?
All right.
All right. That'll be the order of the court. Thank you. All right, Cameron Newton. Are you Mr. Newton?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Newton, this is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. The law says when you're brought into detention, you must see a judge within 48 hours. And if you're detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day detention hearing. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, I want you to move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. That'll also get the attention of your attorney, Miss Keenan Perkins. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Miss Perkins to talk about what you want to say. That way she can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Does that make sense? Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
Good answer. All right, Miss Smiley, what brings Mr. Newton back to court?
Your Honor, Mr. Newton was referred in custody by the Fort Worth Police Department on June the 11th of this year for 2 counts of aggravated robbery. Since that time, Your Honor, there have been 4 additional charges filed by the District Attorney's Office. I'm sorry. There have been 4 additional charges filed by the District Attorney's Office, including engaging in organized, I'm sorry. Including burglary of a have an intended other felony, ag assault with a deadly weapon, 2 counts of ag assault with a deadly weapon, and another burglary of a habitation with included other felony. His case has been filed, Your Honor, and he was set for court this past Thursday before Your Honor, and he has been reset for September the 17th. He is due to have a psychological evaluation this coming Friday, and it is due back next Friday. I will be staffing his case on September the 2nd for possible placement options.
All right. And Ms. Smiley, he's on level 3A as of this morning?
Yes, Your Honor. He is on level 3. He's had some hiccups since his last 10-day detention hearing. As I explained, he has been confined due to breaking DNA with another kid he was back there on. He has several not following instructions. With one day he had 9 not following instructions. That is the cause for a majority of his point deductions.
And another day it was like 12?
The highest he had was 9.
Okay, I'm mixing him with somebody else. Mr. Newton, one of the things I need you to do is what?
Get my level up.
Yes, sir. You were doing better last time. What happened? Just a string of bad luck, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but you got to change your luck, okay? If you're not supposed to associate with somebody, it's not worth getting your level knocked down, okay? Because you want to put your lawyer in the best absolute position to argue your case. And if you're level 3, that makes the DA's case really easy. But if you're level 1-0, that makes your lawyer's case better. And do you want the DA's case to be easier, or do you want your lawyer's case to be easier?
My lawyer's case.
There we go. So what do you need to do between now, because I'm going to order you to be detained, obviously. What do you need to be doing between now and the next detention hearing to make your lawyer's case easier?
Get my level up.
Okay. And what steps are you going to take back there to make that happen?
Not breaking DNA.
That's number 1. What's number 2?
Follow instructions.
There we go. And what's the third thing you can come up with?
I don't know.
Well, think about it.
Just doing what I'm supposed to.
There we go. Okay. So what's step 1?
Not breaking DNA.
Step 2?
Follow instructions.
Third?
Doing what I'm supposed to.
All right. Can you do that for me and your lawyer?
Yes, sir.
What happens if you don't?
Detained.
Well, not just that. What also happens? You make the DA's case easier, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't want to do that, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. That'll be the order of the court. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor,
All right,
I believe that was my last detention hearing or hearing this morning.
Shut up, Tracy. I'm talking right now. Sorry, I just have to break in for a moment. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate every one of you. These are, as a reminder, from 2020. The reason I'm rewatching these is because I had such an amazing time watching them the first time with y'all. We had Judge Kim always left the chat open, and it was a good time. Is the second one from the top alive? Judge Kim or Judge Porter right now literally looks like he's been robbed. Like he has been so engrossed in online court that he didn't notice somebody clearing every book from behind him. The levels are funny. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and 1 is the best, obviously. And then there's O for outstanding, A for acceptable, and U for unacceptable, and C for confined. And that's if you're like confined to your cell. The judge's wife kicked him out but took the law books. That's funny. We are again, this is my red flag thing. When I see something that's like a red flag, I just wave this around. And vote in the chat. Detained or released, what you think is going to happen. Judge Porter is very much more caring about the kids. I believe him when he like explains to each of them very carefully why they shouldn't speak, etc. Judge Kim doesn't do that. Judge Kim wants the ones to talk that want to talk because he likes it, I think. Anyways, so as we continue on, please let me know what you think in the chat. Questions are always welcome. And yeah, let's continue on.
May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Perkins. All right, are you Mr. Rice?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Rice. The law says when you are brought into detention, you have to see a judge within 48 hours. If you're detained, thereafter, you have to see a judge every 2 calendar weeks. This is your 10-day detention hearing. My name is Judge Porter, and we're just here to determine whether or not you should remain in custody or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please, please, please do not shout it out. Instead, move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. That'll also get your attorney's attention, Raphael Sierra. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Sierra to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Do you see Mr. Sierra on the screen? Waving his hand. Raphael, go ahead and say something.
Morning, Mr. Rice.
Oh, yeah, I see him now.
All right. Is Mr. Jennings here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jennings, what brings Mr. Rice back to court?
Your Honor, this is a 10-day detention hearing. The police report states that on July 23rd at approximately 11:30 p.m., Fort Worth police officers and Fort Worth Fire Department responded to an arson investigation. According to the police report, the victims heard a window break and observed a fire in the front room of their house. The victim reported that they saw a male running from the area. The victim was able to retrieve a fire extinguisher and put the fire out while she was on the phone with 911. Once officers arrived, the victim reported they've had several problems with Jalen Rice, who happens to be the victim's daughter's ex-boyfriend. The victim further reported that Jalen had been throwing rocks and several other items through the windows, and it had seemed to be escalating. The officers were able to review a video of the outside of the home with the victim. The victim was able to observe a male approach the home, light something, throw it through the window, and run away. The victim reported that the male subject was the same height, build, and moved like Jalen Rice. On July 26th, 4th Police Department and Fire Department investigators obtained a warrant for Jalen Rice's arrest. They contacted Arlington Police Department to assist with executing the warrant. Officers were able to take Jalen into custody without incident. It should also be noted that during this allegation of arson, there were approximately 7 people in the home. 3 were listed under the age of 10. On July 27th, Jalen appeared before Judge Kim for an initial detention hearing. At that time, Judge Kim did order Jalen to be detained. Later that day, we received an out-of-custody police report from the Arlington Police Department alleging that Jalen had evaded from officers on February 25th of 2020. The police report states that officers made contact with Tara Rice, who was Jalen's mother. She advised that Jalen had stolen her car the previous night. She was able to track the vehicle down to the location, and she observed Jalen walking away from the car. Ms. Rice reported to the officers that she attempted to get the keys back from Jalen, but he refused. Around that same time, officers pulled up in full uniform and in a marked police car. Jalen began to leave the area. The officer identified himself and advised Jalen to return. Jalen refused. Officers did attempt to locate him, but were not able to. All these were referred to the district attorney's office. And on August 7th, the district attorney did file a petition on all new offenses as well as a violation of the court order.
Is that Ms. Rice in the parents' room?
Yes, it is.
Mom, Wow, this is a lot. Tell me what's going on.
Well, I don't know. This is kind of a shock to me, as far as the arson incident and everything, because he's been doing so well. He has a full-time job, so and he works practically 6 to 7 days a week, and works all the way from 5:30 in the morning to 7. So this is kind of like really a shock. Really surprised me when I got the reports.
What about when he allegedly took your car and then wouldn't give it back to you?
That was way back in February, and I mean, ever since then he's been doing fine. I mean, he's been going to school. He's been doing his online schoolwork. I mean, I haven't had any problems with him personally at home, so I don't know. I don't know where that charge even came from, because that was way back in February.
How long ago did he and this girlfriend break up?
It's been a while. It's been over a year.
Oh, wow. Have y'all sat down and talked about the breakup?
Have I sat down and talked about the breakup?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I don't. I mean, ever since this situation allegedly occurred, the victims have been harassing me. Not only that, they contact.
Well, let's not talk about all that. I want to talk about your relationship with Jalen. So you haven't sat down and talked to him about the breakup?
Yeah, I mean, seems like he's pretty much over it. I mean, he has another girlfriend, so I don't know why this even occurred.
Okay.
Or why they're alleging this occurred. So, I mean, he's been over it.
Judge,
did you hear, Ms. Rice, did you hear the probation officer's description of things? Of throwing rocks and then escalating?
I did hear that, but they never identified his face. I mean, it could have been, these are all allegations.
Okay. Don't try to anticipate what I'm asking.
Okay.
You're trying to go somewhere you don't need to go. Okay. You don't want to try and minimize the situation. You want to try and be there to help your son. That's where I'm headed with this. And any talk that sounds like it's minimizing the alleged behavior does not get anywhere with me. What I'm getting at is, if he was there throwing rocks at the windows and then it escalates to something else, that suggests to me that he's not over this girl in one way or another. And that maybe y'all need to sit down and talk about that as a family, because you're the parent. You've got a lot more experience. You've probably broken a few boys' hearts in your lifetime, and you're able to explain that situation as a mom, as a parent, to your son, and kind of help walk him through what he's feeling. Right?
Right. I mean, I'm definitely not minimizing the situation. I mean, it's just, we have talked about it. I mean, he seems like when we have conversations, and we have conversations all the time about, what he's supposed to be doing, what he's required to do. We have rules. It's my house, my rules. So he seems like he's over it. I mean, he has a new girlfriend. So to me, from what I'm getting from him, and I can only go off based on what he's telling me, he's been over it. I mean, like I said, he has a total new girlfriend. So I don't know. All these allegations are a shock to me.
What's he doing out at 11 o'clock at night?
I never said he was out at 11 o'clock at night. I mean, I go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock. I have an infant child. So, I mean.
And when he came in on the 26th, he tested positive for marijuana. Where is he getting the marijuana?
Well, he has a job, so he makes his own money. I don't give him any money. Nothing comes from my pocket. So, I mean, I can't contest to that because honestly, I don't give him money. I mean, I can't contest to that. So I can only speak for myself, and I don't give him money. Yet he does have a full-time job.
Okay.
May the defense respond, Judge?
No, sir. I've made my decision. I mean, you're welcome to say something, but it's not going to change anything.
Well, Judge, just for the purposes of the hearing, there is an identity issue with this case, and it'd be best served if Mr. Rice were able to be released so that we can discuss his case and address the situation as best as possible. Your Honor, at the same time, his mom is willing to bring him to court. His mom is willing to take him at home. Like she mentioned, he does work, but I think it's important the court to know that mom is currently pregnant and he does provide half of his paycheck to support his household, where he also has a sister, two brothers. So they're pretty dependent on him, Your Honor. And any considerations of you releasing him possibly on an ankle monitor, if not today, in the future, would be greatly appreciated.
All right, Mr. Rice, you've only been level 1-0 since yesterday. The court, given your history with the Juvenile Probation Department, that combined with the seriousness of the current allegations, the court is not yet convinced that if I were to release you, you would not still be a danger to the community. And so for that basis, I'm going to order that you continue to be detained. You need to maintain level 1-0 for the next 10 business days. And then that'll give the court a good reason to think that if you can follow the rules in detention, then maybe, just maybe, you can follow the rules at home as well. But as of right now, I'm not yet convinced. And so I think right now, on balance, you're still a danger to the community if I were to release you. So that'll be the order of the court.
May I be excused, Judge?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Sierra.
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
And Ms. Johnson, what is your client's preferred last name?
Signs.
Okay, thank you. Are you Mr. Signs?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Signs. The law says when you're brought into detention, you must see a judge within 48 hours. If you are detained thereafter, you must see a judge every 10 business days. This is your 10-day detention hearing. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. It will also get the attention of your attorney, Ms. Johnson. I will create a private internet chat room for you and Ms. Johnson to talk about what you want to say. That way she can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
You see Ms. Johnson on the screen?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Rojas, what brings Mr. Signs to court?
Your Honor, I do want to let you know that the mother is on Zoom. It's under Familia Science. This is a 10-day detention hearing for Kenneth. He was referred in custody on the 26th of July for a family violence assault caused bodily injury. The mother is the victim on this case. According to the offense report, the Arlington Police Department was dispatched to domestic disturbance in the home. They made contact with mother, who reported that she was missing $250 from her bag, and she confronted Kenneth about the missing money. There was a small argument, and Kenneth told her that he was going to return the money. When he was handing the money over to the victim, he punched and scratched the victim's right arm. He then walked to the kitchen, and she saw him pick up a knife, or saw him with a knife that was blue. The victim explained that she and her mother were in fear when they sleep, because they felt that Kenneth was going to hurt them, so they hardly slept. This was the only physical violence incident on that day. A red mark was seen on the victim's arm. Kenneth spoke with police, and he indicated that When he was giving the money to mom, she grabbed it aggressively and he grabbed her arm to push her off. He admitted to having the blue pocket knife. He indicated that when he found out police were coming, he went into the kitchen in fear that it would not look good for him. He was placed under arrest for that family violence assault. He had a scheduled adjudication and disposition hearing on the 27th at that initial 10-day detention hearing for prior family violence cases. They were all filed by the district attorney's office. So he has a family violence assault from February of this month, where an uncle is the victim. He has an assault caused bodily injury and an injury to a child or elderly where the grandmother is the victim, and obstruction or retaliation offense from the same day, which is March the 20th, 2020. That was the petition that was on file, and we were scheduled for the adjudication on the 27th of July. But obviously that was passed because he came in over that weekend for this current family violence.
And have you talked to the family? Do they want him to come home right now?
I spoke with mother today and she's indicating that she's ready for him to come back.
Okay.
This new case is still pending with the district attorney's office, and we don't have a new court date on the prior family violence cases.
All right. He has been level 1-0 for the last 3 days.
Yes, since the 7th.
Okay. And Mom, are you ready for Kenneth to come home?
Yes, I am, sir.
Are you worried for your safety or any of your family if I were to release him to you?
I could be lying if I say no, but at this point we have had conversations, and I'm pretty sure he's learning his lesson out of this.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, would it disappoint you for me to say that I'm inclined to release him?
No, it would not.
Okay. Have you, Ms. Johnson, had a chance to speak with the family at all?
I've spoken with my client and I spoke with Mom right before he came back in.
All right. Is your client ready to work with the family to start rebuilding his relationship with his family?
Actually, he indicated that to me, so I'm going to go with a yes. I did not initiate it. He started it.
Even better. All right. Mr. Sines, I'm going to order that you be released. It will be on an electronic monitor, okay? So you've maintained level 1-0 in the back for 3 days. I expect you to maintain level 1-0 at home for your family. Will you do that for me?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Mrs. Sines, it is your responsibility to make sure he gets back to court when he is supposed to. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right. Will you work with Ms. Johnson to make sure that Kenneth comes back when he is supposed to?
Definitely I do.
All right. I agree. All right. That'll be the order of the court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Rojas, I've already signed the EM order.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. Are you Ms. Ugoagu?
Yes, sir.
All right. My name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention, you have to see a judge within 2 business days. And you have to see a judge. If you're detained, you have to see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there's something you want to say, please do not shout it out. Instead, move your hand back and forth like this. That'll get my attention. That will also get the attention of your attorney, Mr. Mooney. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and Mr. Mooney to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you see Mr. Mooney on the screen?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Howard, what brings this young lady back to court?
Yes, Your Honor. This is another 10-day detention hearing on Thursday, June 25th. 16-year-old Uchi Wagwa was referred into custody by Fort Worth PD for a directive issued by the court. On 4/19, PO received a text from father over that weekend stating that she had ran away on that Sunday evening. That was the cause of the actual DTA. On 4/20, PO received a call from the father stating that he had found out that she purchased a ticket on a Greyhound bus to Minnesota using her credit card, using his credit card without permission. Moving forward from there, on May 7th, the prosecutor, Miss Andy, she actually recorded for the offense and for the credit card theft charge.
And this young lady has a relative of some sort living in Minneapolis?
Yes. Mom actually should be on the actual call. Dad as well. I see both of their names there, but I know Mom said she was having a meeting at 11:45. She was going to still try to jump back on, and father as well. He should still be there. I see him still there. So.
Yeah, there's
I'm
Miriam.
here.
Where did Dad was? There he is. Okay.
His name is there, but he hasn't popped up. I will.
Yeah, I just sent him a message to try and get him back on the screen. She was supposed to meet with the Alliance for Children.
Yes.
How'd that go? Without going into specifics of what they talked about, because remember, we're being broadcasting.
Well, in actuality, it didn't go, Your Honor, because apparently on July the 15th, so I spoke, we actually had another hearing, two different ones, a director by the name of Ms. Lindsay DeLucci said that she was going to talk to Judge Kim to get further detailed information, even though after he actually ordered it, but since then they actually canceled it 2 hours prior to her actual interview.
Who canceled?
Alliance for Children.
Did they give you a reason as to why they canceled it?
The reason was they needed to seek more information. It was, well, it says Ms. Dooley wanted to reach out to Judge Kim to get some clarification on what, if any, additional information has come to light that has changed the need for a forensic interview.
Yeah,
that's what they left.
Do you have any evidence that they have reached out to Judge Kim to make that request?
No, Your Honor.
Neither do I.
Yes, no, Your Honor.
All right. Is the correct pronunciation of your last name Ms. Osamor?
Correct, yes.
Are you here in Tarrant County?
Nope, I'm in Minnesota.
Okay, okay. And so it is Dad who lives here in Tarrant County?
Correct.
Okay. Golly. She's been level 1-0 for a good long time.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
And golly.
Your Honor, also, she has a court scheduled on the 12th. I will say that I've been in contact with her attorney as well as the DA, Miss Andy. Mom is scheduled to be available, well, to arrive actually tomorrow. It was some indication that they considered to dismiss the actual case if she's actually returning to Minnesota with her mother.
That's correct, Judge.
Okay. Well, then that makes this easy. Ms. Osamar, you are planning to come to Texas later this week?
Tomorrow, yes, sir.
Okay. And wow.
Judge,
Okay,
Judge, if I could interrupt.
please.
I have an agreement with the prosecutor that if she returns with her mother, that the prosecutor will dismiss the case.
Okay. Mr. Mooney, are you available to help the DA walk that dismissal through tomorrow, and then we can expedite her release from detention?
Yes, if somebody needs to notify me.
All right. Mr. Reed, will you let Ms. Smith know about that?
I will, Judge.
Ms. Osamore, once you get to juvenile tomorrow, please go see Ms. Smith. And then Ms. Smith can walk through other paperwork. Ms. Smith can also get in contact with Mr. Mooney, and we will expedite things. All right?
Okay.
Will that work for everybody?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Reed, any objection?
As to the plan, Judge, no, but that's an agreement between defense counsel and another prosecutor, but I will inform them that that's what the plan is.
All right. Okay. Now, Ms. Ogawagu, for today, I'm going to order that you be detained. But your attorney and Ms. Smith have apparently reached an agreement with your mom. And so if they get all that paperwork to me tomorrow, and I'll be here tomorrow, then it looks like everybody's plan is for you to be released to your mother tomorrow.
I don't get to Texas till in the evening on tomorrow, so I was hoping to get to court on Wednesday morning.
All right, then Wednesday. I will be here until 5 p.m. on Wednesday. I usually get here between 8 and 8:10. So I'll be here, and if I have to stay here through lunch to make a family reunification happen, I'm happy to do that. I see that Mr. Ugawagu has turned on his microphone. Can you hear me, sir? Dad, can you hear me? Oh, well, anyway, for now, I'm going to order you to be detained, but it looks like you may be getting out on Wednesday. All right, that'll be the order of the court. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Osamar. Thank you, Mr. Mooney.
Thank you.
All right, please do not bring the next child in. While these hearings have been broadcast on YouTube, Texas Family Code, Section 5408, subsection C, requires courts to close hearings to the public when the children involved are under the age of 14, unless there's evidence that the needs of the public outweigh the privacy interest of children under 14. No evidence showing the needs of the public outweigh the privacy interest of any children under 14 for the remaining hearing or hearings. And therefore, the court will be discontinuing the live broadcast.
Judge, slow down. I have one more queued up that I will pop on. Yeah, so I have. Dude, okay. Yeah, I have aphantasia and honestly had heard about it, but really didn't quite grasp that people, yeah, I pretty much think, like, I've always thought it was just normal. Like, when someone says, picture this or imagine that, like, I can use my imagination. And people often tell me, like, oh, you have a crazy imagination. How did you think of that? How could you think of it? And I think it's because I don't have to see anything to use my imagination. I'm always using the voice in my head, which is what is going constantly. And, but yeah, there's no images or anything like that. And until recently, I really thought that was the same way for everybody. But now, like, school makes so much sense. It sounds so easy, homework and like practicing stuff. Like, wow, obviously that's why they do all that. To me, I was always like, oh, better hope I like this, because I can remember a lot of stuff, but not like, exactly somehow. It's a weird thing. Some people, my sister has the same thing, and she talked about how, oh, other people can recall a picture of their mom or their kid, and we can't. But I explained, like, until I knew I had this, I never thought I was missing anything. And so when I think of my daughter, I feel the emotions that are near, like, about my daughter. I don't see any part of her, but I have, when I think of her, there's a feeling, and the same for different people. So I think that your brain sort of substitutes in and finds ways to do what it needs to do. But I also have a friend who's a teacher, and it has determined that she has aphantasia. And what she does now in her classroom is when she does a visualization exercise, she asks the kids to say if they didn't see it or did see the question, like the color or whatever it was. And she says it usually is around 5% of the kids that really don't see it. Oh, visualize your goals. I literally have written down a whole list of things that are just like absolutely ridiculous, that make total sense now, when you think about it. Because before I was like, I don't understand all these things. Maybe I didn't write it down here. Anyways, let me put on, well, people tell me a lot. I think that I might have autism. I have ADHD, and I think there's probably some autism linked in there, to be honest with you. But yeah, I literally didn't think it was a thing. But I also have a theory that people that have it are like, you know, attracted to one another, because like my partner's, I asked him, and he couldn't have images either. And it's hard to actually convince somebody that has aphantasia that people can see images in their head. It's literally almost unbelievable to me. I'm like, y'all are playing little movie players up there. Like, brings a whole new meaning to daydreaming. Or like, I think it's why I'm a great driver. I've never in my life not seen what's in front of me when my eyes are open. Like, it seems amazing to me. Anyways, let me go ahead and see, which one was it? Or the 11th. Okay, I got it ready. Okay, just one sec. Well, I never knew that, and it never worked for me to visualize or to do any meditation. Honestly, I used to cheat every time a teacher said close your eyes or whatever. Like, I could not understand how people could think better with their eyes closed versus open. And like, when the problem is this, when you start by asking the question, like, to test if you have aphantasia, you're like, imagine an apple. Well, my brain is going, okay, what kind of apple are you going to ask me to imagine? And there's never going to be a picture of an apple. It's all me compiling things about apples. And so I'm like just waiting for the next bit of information to come along so that I can sort of put it into place. But there's never going to be an image. But if you say, can you imagine an apple? Of course I can. Yes, I'm imagining an apple, but I'm not seeing it. And I think there's a key difference if you start using visualize versus imagine, because there you'll find a big difference. Like, I can imagine many, many things, but I can't visualize anything. And smell, yeah, smell is very, very strong for me to recall things. I have this thing where when I go on vacation, I try and get a new perfume, and I use that while I'm on vacation. And then whenever I use that perfume, I'm sort of taken back to that vacation really, really viscerally. And I'm lucky. I've grown up in the age where I've had a camera phone for a long time. So I was missing things, but not really. I have what photos I want on my phone. So it was hard for me to even think, you know, that it was something missing. But like, I can't describe people's faces. I would be a horrible witness to a crime. But I know immediately if I've met somebody before, I recognize their face immediately. So I don't know how my brain has figured it out to go together, but it certainly has somehow. Yeah, you know, I think that what I would suggest, Grim, if you have people that are in that you think might not be visualizing as well, just change one thing. Instead of saying visualize a white space, just say black. And then automatically they're doing it perfectly. And you've just sort of like worked around that problem. Seriously, because I always used to wonder, I'm like, why won't they just go with black? That's what color it is when my eyes are closed. But honestly, I think because the quietness in your brain is quite easy when you have aphantasia, if you're trying to do it, but seeing something isn't. So I wouldn't even focus on that with those types of people. Anyways, let's go ahead and start this one. We've got Judge Kim back on the bench.
Good morning, everyone. Here, thank you. So this is a detention docket for the 323rd District Court, Juvenile Court in Tarrant County. Because of the Supreme Court of Texas 22nd emergency order regarding coronavirus, we are not having in-court proceedings unless it's not possible to do it remotely. And in order to comply with the Texas Open Courts Act, we are broadcasting this proceeding on YouTube so that the public can observe these proceedings if they choose to do so. All right, so the first one is Braden Hood with Ms. Herrick. All right, Mr. Hood. So this is a detention hearing. I think you were before Judge Porter yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Well, I know you have certain rights. You have the right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. You also have a right to an attorney if you or your family cannot afford an attorney. I will provide one for you. And finally, you do have the right to have a detention hearing every 10 days while you're here in our detention facility. All right, so Ms. Herrick, if I remember correctly, he was on probation for UMV and then was arrested for aggravated robbery.
Yes.
Okay. Then, let's see, he was brought in, he was positive for marijuana. He's previously successfully completed TYRC and 2 bouts of electronic monitoring, but had some other problems. All right. So this is the one victim met up on Instagram, from Instagram to buy a cell phone. And she arrived there. Suspect displayed a handgun, pointed at her, and demanded money. So she gave cash, food stamp card, Cash App card. Described the driver as young buck male with medium dreads and bad acne. And there are other people in the car as well. She says she knew the suspect from school. Identified tattoo. Detectives searched the Instagram account, confirmed the person with the tattoo. Later on was pulled over in the car. The matched the description of the one in the robbery. It had guns in the vehicle. All right. Okay, Ms. Herrick, your request for this hearing.
So it's my understanding at his first detention hearing with you, you highly encouraged him to get on and stay on level 1.0, and then you would consider his release. He's been on level 1.0 since last Sunday, I guess 10 days ago or so, and stayed on level 1.0 since then. We had a detention hearing yesterday with Judge Porter, and Judge Porter's only concern was that he wanted to speak to Mom and ask her some questions. She wasn't there on the Zoom hearing yesterday, but she is here today. Sparkle, she's muted and I don't see video, but she is here. And so we're just requesting his release today.
Which one's Mom?
Sparkle McGillivray.
Miss McGillivray, are you there?
There she is.
Okay, Miss McGillivray. All right, so my main question for you is whose Kia Soul is that?
I don't know whose car that was.
Okay, do you know who he was with?
No, I've heard, but I don't know who the guy is.
Okay, there were two at the time of the robbery. Do you know any of those people that he was with on July 24th?
No, I didn't even know it was two. I just knew it was.
Ma'am, you have to stay still. You can't walk around. Ma'am, you can't walk around.
Okay, I was trying to turn the fan off so I could hear you.
Okay, the fan should have been off before this started.
Okay, well, I don't know. I didn't know who he was with.
Okay, do you know where the gun came from?
No.
What about from November of last year, the stolen car? Do you know whose car that was?
No.
All right, well, I mean, tell me what Braden's doing right.
What he's doing right?
Yes.
Sometimes he does what he's supposed to, and then when he gets around the wrong people and goes off and does stuff like he did.
You know where he's getting the weed from?
No.
You know how much weed he smokes?
I'm pretty sure it's a lot.
You don't smell it on him?
I mean, yeah, I smell it, but most of the time, see, like this last time, he was at my mom's house when all this happened.
Was he supposed to be staying at your mom's house?
His probation officer knew he was staying like sometimes with me and sometimes with my mom.
So how long would he stay with your mom?
Like a few days.
So
maybe
where's the
like
baby coming from? Is there a baby, Miss McGillivray, is there a baby next to you?
No, that's a baby next to me.
Can you go to a place, you know, you can't bring children into the courtroom, right? This is like a court.
That's why I missed court yesterday, because I don't have. Okay, go. Because my husband is at work and I'm the only parent here. Okay, good.
Judge, if I can intervene a little bit right now.
Please.
I talked to Braden for quite a while yesterday, and Sparkle is correct. He does, and probation knew that he splits his time between mom and grandma. It sounds to me like he's much better supervised at grandma's house. There are fewer kids there. It's just him and his twin brother that go over there instead of, I think there's 5 siblings at mom's house. And so with that being the case, and Braden's definitely on board, we would request that he be released to his grandma's house where he is much better supervised.
I mean, Ms. Herb, but on the other hand, he was staying at his grandmother's when allegedly this aggravated robbery happened. Right?
Yeah, that's what she said. that didn't sound right to me from my conversations with him. He says that his friends that are negative influence to him are closer to his mom's house.
All right, so Ms. Gonzalez, when he was arrested, there were guns in the car. Did those guns match the description of the gun used in the robbery?
Ms. Gonzalez isn't here today. I'm covering for her.
Okay. Ms. Campos, do you know? Are you familiar with that? Or if you're not, that's fine. It's not your case.
I do not know. What I do know is that he is scheduled to have a psychological evaluation on Sunday. And what the probation officer did tell me is that sometimes it's difficult for mom to get him to those appointments. And so we would like for him to stay in detention so that he can get his psychological evaluation on the 16th. And this case is also set for resource staffing on the 31st.
Right. Mom, I have a question. When did he get that tattoo?
He's been having that tattoo for like almost 6 months now, probably longer than that. I think he had it the last time he came to court.
Where did you get the tattoo from?
I don't know. He came home one day with the tattoo.
I mean, Ms. Herrick, I'm trying to give you the benefit of looking at this, but like this, there's absolutely not adequate supervision at home. I mean, mom doesn't know he's getting tattooed, doesn't know where he is, doesn't know where he gets a gun, doesn't know where he gets the weed from, doesn't know who he's hanging out with.
Right.
Can't even, I mean, I say can't. Hands are full with a young child, a toddler, let alone with a 16-year-old that's going out and getting tattoos, possession of guns. So Mr. Hood, if you want to ask me a question, I don't really want you to talk about like what happened on the offense, all right? Your attorney doesn't want you to talk about that either, but if you have a question for me, I'm more than happy to answer it for you.
It's not like really about the events, and like I was just gonna say like, cause like the tattoo is my brother's name. Like one of my best friends died, so like that's where I got the tattoo from. I got it last year in September.
So which parent gave you permission to get the tattoo?
Nobody.
All right, so you see the problem that you're not following the rules, like for whatever reason you have, but at 16 years old, you're not allowed to make that decision and without your parents being on board. If you're doing what you want to do, you see how that gives me worry.
Yes, sir. Can I say something else too?
Well, okay. And
is it about the tattoo?
Is it about the tattoo? Okay.
No. Okay.
If it's about weed, guns, being out at night, robberies, anything like that, like your attorney and I do not want you to talk about that, all right?
And it was and my mama, she do watch me, but like my granny, like I stay, that's why I'm really at my granny house most of the time, because like my granny keep me like, because when I'm over there, she keep me like, she keep me focused. She let me
hold on a second. I really don't think you should talk about this either, and the reason why is because ultimately deciding whether you get probation or go to TJJD has to do with where there's a good place for you to stay or not. If you start talking about your grandma and being over there, then that may make your attorney's job harder in arguing on whether you should be at grandma's place or not. Because based on what your mom told me, I'm kind of worried about your grandma being adequate supervision because, evidently this aggravated robbery happened when you're supposed to be at grandma, right? So I don't want you to cast any more doubt on that. Ms. Herrick, I think I'm right on this one, aren't I?
I don't think you're correct that he was at grandma's house, but I understand why you don't want to talk about it anymore. Yes.
Yes. I just don't want you to put your attorney in a spot where she can't argue something in the future. You see what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but Mr. Hood, just based on the seriousness of this, you know, I take kids with guns with the highest level. I'm most concerned about that. The fact that you're on probation at the time gives me a big worry too, right? So yeah, at this point, I would keep on detaining you. Yes, sir?
Can I talk to my attorney?
Yeah, she can call you. I'm not gonna put off the whole court setting because there's other kids that I need to get to. So, but she can call you.
Yep.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to detain you for now. You'll see a judge if you're here for the next 10 days. But I just want to make sure you understand you're on probation, you're smoking weed, somebody is putting you with a robbery with a gun in your hand, you're pulled over with a gun in the car. I'm just very, very concerned about you following the rules or accepting supervision or not. Okay? All right, thank you, Mr. Hood. Tucker Price.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Herrick. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Return Tucker. Miss McGonigal. Oh no, Miss O'Neill's here. Hello.
Good morning.
All right, Mr. Tucker, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. And so you've been here for 10 days. So the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You need to decide whether to keep you or to release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge every 10 days after today. You have the right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. All right, so Mr. Tucker, looking at this, you were placed in July 1st on probation for evading arrest with a motor vehicle, and your drug test was clean. And part of the conditions of your probation was to get on electronic monitor. So, see, on July 27th, you were outside the house from 6 to 7:30. You've had multiple violations with electronic monitor for you going outside the house. On July 24th, your monitor equipment was changed out just to make sure it's not the equipment. You were told that if you had another violation, we would issue a warrant for you. You were told to stay inside the house. And you deny leaving the home, even though the electronic monitor says you are outside the home. All right. So, Ms. Washington, did you verify the GPS tracking?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't have the maps before me.
I don't need the maps. I'm just wondering.
Yes.
So when he was gone from 5:56 a.m. to 7:29 a.m., you know about how far he went? How far the monitor went?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. Again, there was one point where he went, and it was another apartment complex.
Okay,
And
so
then-
it wasn't like the front porch or the.
No, I think he actually left from the home.
Okay.
And Your Honor, this has been going on since he's been on my caseload. Judge Terry did order him to be detained until he reached level 1. He is currently on level 1 right now. I did speak with him yesterday to, encourage him again to make sure he abide by the rules on the monitor. He does have an FPP assessment appointment on the 30th.
All right, so I'm gonna make this really simple. Mr. Tucker, did you violate the EM or not?
Sir?
Did you violate the electronic monitor or not? Did you go outside your home or to another complex or not?
No, I left and I went
Okay, that's all I need is I want to make sure we have good communication, okay?
Yes, sir.
What you're saying now can't be used against you at the end of the hearing. They can't violate your probation because of this right now because you admitted it to me, okay? They can because the evidence may show, the maps may show you left, but this is a conversation with you and me, okay? One of my biggest pet peeves is somebody lying to me, okay? Lying to the court, nothing good happens. All right, so now you understand that the monitor keeps track of you, right?
Yes, sir.
You understand if you step outside the house, we're gonna know that you stepped outside the house, right?
Yes, sir.
You understand that because you didn't cut off the monitor, I feel better because I have an idea where you were. You weren't at a game room or in a trap house or, something like that. You were legitimately somewhere and we could track you. So it was good you didn't cut off the monitor, okay? So if I release you back on the electronic monitor, can you follow those rules?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Will you follow those rules?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You mean that means that you can't leave your home. You got that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll give you another chance, release an electronic monitor. Do you understand we're going to have the same conversation next time, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Miss O'Neill, please forgive me for asking the direct questions, but
It's okay.
I want to release him, but I can't have him denying the.
He understands everything now. We had a long talk and he gets it.
Okay, good. All right, so Terrence, I'm signing this order to release you. I'm releasing you on the electronic monitor, okay?
Yes, sir.
And a large part of this is the fact that you turned yourself in. If we had to come and get you and find you, we'd be having a different conversation. But when we told you, hey, you got to come in, your mom and you came to turn yourself in, and now you're admitting that you understand how it works, you're not going to break the rules again, I'll give you another chance, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions for me?
So like I was just trying to see how do I do my community service? Cause like they text my mama phone, but I was trying to see if they could text it to my phone.
Yep, talk to Miss Washington. She will let you know.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Mr. Tucker?
No, sir.
All right. Are you going to see me again anytime soon?
I hope not. No, sir.
Come on, man.
No, sir.
Okay. Are you going to see me anytime in the long term?
No, sir.
All right. I hope not. All right. Thank you, Terrence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Judge. May I be excused?
Yeah, it's good to see you, Miss O'Neill.
Good to see you. Thank you.
I had the monitor. I kept them here. Estrella Ramirez.
Your Honor, Mr. Ramirez is in CPS custody, and there should be two parties from CPS on the Zoom link. Mr. Mendoza, who's an investigator, and Ms. Ruiz, who's her ongoing caseworker.
Hey, hello, Ms. Ruiz. Mr. Mendoza, are you here? Nope. Okay. Well,
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
oh, there you go. All right. Okay. So, Estrella, this is a detention hearing. The law says when a child is brought to our facility, you have to see a judge within 2 days and have to decide whether to keep you in custody or to release you. By keeping you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you do have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. Okay, so CPS, so I guess let's lay the ground rule. Is she currently in custody of the department? It's Ms. Ruiz.
That is correct.
Okay, all right. Now, is it permanent conservatorship, temporary? Is there a pending case?
No, it's a permanent conservatorship. Her parental rights have been terminated.
Okay, great. For both parents?
Correct.
Okay. How long has she been in DPS's care?
About 4 years.
Okay. All right. And where was the termination out of? What county?
Webb County.
Webb County. Okay. All right, Estrella. Let's see. Tell her already you've had a hard life. So you're almost 17 years old. Let's see. Yesterday, Arlington Police brought you here. They're saying that on August 9th, there are two separate calls involving residents of two neighboring apartments. The first was an attempted motor vehicle theft with the suspect and his girlfriend, Estrella. The second occurred at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Confrontation with the vehicle owner and Damien and Estrella. When the police got there, the victim said that they saw Shields and his girlfriend, confronted them about the damages done to her vehicle, and demanded restitution. Shields verbally lashed out at her. His mother and sister exited and began to shout and curse at the victim as well. The victim's adult son filmed the confrontation. At some point, Estrella allegedly charged the victim, punched her in the head with a closed fist, and scratched her arm before Shields' family pulled her off and the victim and away from the scene. Police saw scratching, which was bleeding, but she refused medical attention. Shields' family was interviewed, confirmed the incident and the assault, and told the police that the victim is always filming and confronting them. The next day, at 8:30 in the morning, police were called back when the victim saw Estrella walking around the premises. They approached her, confronted her. She gave a fake name of Star Martinez and hesitated before providing the information and misspelled her name twice. And then she admitted her actual name, said she's a runaway, confirmed the fact of the assault the preceding day, and gave a false name because she was scared since she knew she was a runaway. So they took her into custody. So you have a case out of Laredo, Texas. You were in a Houston area group home, which you ran from on July 7th. And so CPS wants to pick you up from our detention center, but could not get here before today. So that's why we're having a detention hearing. All right. So is she just in, where's she in Houston?
She was in an RTC, yes, sir. She ran away from there with two other girls.
Which one?
Chelsea's Place.
All right. And Ms. Ruiz, you are currently in Webb County. Correct?
Yes, sir. Correct. Also, why we couldn't pick her up yesterday is we have no placement for her right now. They are actively searching for a placement, but we just haven't been able to come up with one because of her history.
Right. Okay. So Estrella, look, I just want to have like a conversation with you, okay? I can't imagine how tough your life has been, right, for the last 4 or maybe 10 or 16 years. Okay? What I'm going to let you know, though, is as a child, you have very limited rights. And the laws in Texas, in some ways, are very child-friendly. In some ways, they're very not child-friendly. I get that. Okay? I'm not saying that this is fair. I'm just telling you it is what it is. And when you become, I guess, a ward, you know, when you go into CPS's care, then there are all kinds of laws that are meant to help you. And unfortunately, sometimes the laws actually make your life worse. And I understand. I'm not saying that this is perfect. What I'm saying is that there are just certain rules that have to be followed, whether they're good rules or not, okay? Because it's the law. You understand what I'm saying so far? Like, I'm not asking you to agree with me, but you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That being said, there's nothing you can do about the fact that you're currently in foster care. Okay? There's nothing I can do about that. It is what it is. And in some ways, it's got to be incredibly frustrating. And in a lot of ways, what I see is you are being cheated out of what a normal 16-year-old girl should be going through. And life has done that to you, and that's just not fair. And I get that. Okay? What I'm saying is, as a judge, I just have to make sure the law is followed. Okay? I didn't write the law. I don't really like all the laws, but they just have to be followed. And I hope you understand what I'm saying, that when the courts are involved, that you're expected to follow the laws as well. Okay? Just because they're the laws. A lot of laws that you don't like, I get it, but you still have to follow them. Okay? And if not, you end up with seeing judges and coming into detention centers, and just makes your life worse. Okay? So this is my thought, right? You're currently in the custody of the state of Texas as a foster child. So I have to release you to, I want to release, I don't have to release you, but I want to release you to the foster, to DFPS, because I'd rather you be in an RTC or in a foster home or in a placement rather than Kimbo. Okay? Kimbo's not the right place for you, our detention center. Okay? Now, that being said, you run away from Houston, you end up in Tarrant County, man, you know that's not going to work out well for you, right? I mean, you know you're a runaway. So here's the thing, like, I don't want to keep you here, but I got to make sure you don't run away and go off and do your own thing again. Okay? I'm not stressed out about this assault charge. I'm not stressed out about this failed ID charge. Okay, that's not killing me. What's killing me is that you're coming from Houston to Fort Worth without anybody knowing and trying to kind of be grown up before you need to. Okay? You understand, Estrella, that once you turn 17, because you turn 17 this month, that all these charges would become adult charges. You understand that, right? I need a yes. Okay. I'm not trying to scold you. I just, it's important for you to understand that it's different in the juvenile system than the adult system. So what I can do right now is I can release you back to CPS, and they can try and find a place for you. And Ms. Ruiz, if you can talk to, I guess, the district attorney's office that are with y'all, I'm more than willing to transfer these juvenile cases to Webb County so that the judge there can make a decision and they can do what's best for Estrella, okay? I don't think it helps her to have to come back to Tarrant County to resolve these cases. I think it'd be better if it was all handled back in her home county. So if you relay that to the court that if they want to call me, I can sign an order, or they can send an order requiring me to transfer it. It won't hurt my feelings at all, okay? But we need to do what's best for Estrella. If the judge there feels like they need to detain Estrella to keep her from running away, that judge will be able to do so at the Webb County Juvenile Detention Facility because of these cases once it's transferred, right? So that'll be, I want to give your judge as much, I guess, discretion as possible. I don't want to interfere with what y'all are doing for Estrella, okay?
Okay.
So at this point, when do you think y'all can come and pick her up?
I'm not sure, Judge. Honestly, we have no placement. If I pick her up today, we would just bring her back to the office. Bring her back to the office. She has family here that she has run away from. She had siblings that they were an option, but she started using drugs and running away and drinking. So the sisters have opted that they can no longer care for her. So we have no placement for her at this time, Judge. I honestly, I don't know.
Right, I get that. Probably the best thing is to talk to your counterpart right now and see if the judge wants to transfer it today.
Okay.
I can sign the order to transfer today. Then at the very least, you would have the juvenile detention facility there in Webb County, so she can at least be there, okay? I'm letting you know, typically on these cases, misdemeanors like this, I do not like to keep the children here in our facility. Our facility is really for kids that are a danger to themselves or others. Main danger being a runaway, but you and I know I can release her to you and then kind of stick you in a hard spot. And I don't want to do that to you guys, right?
Okay.
So if you can kind of move a little faster with your judge down there, then that helps me kind of work from my end of releasing her as soon as possible for these charges, but then also provides a place for you that you can place her while this case is going on. Does that make sense?
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
I appreciate that. We can wait
hopefully
on.
it sounds fair, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So let's go ahead and do that. So can I count on this like being done before Friday?
I hope so, Judge. Yes. We'll get on the call today and see what can happen so we can do it fast.
All right. Come Friday, if she's still here at detention for our detention docket, I may just release her to the department directly. Like, I don't want to keep her more than I'm trying to be fair to you guys, but I'm trying to be fair to Estrella.
Completely understand, Judge.
Okay. All right. So Estrella, this is the deal. I'm going to keep you here for now. This is because your extensive history of runaway. Okay. And so I've got to protect you from you. One of the reasons the law says I can keep a child is if you're likely not to appear for court. With your history of runaway, I'm finding it's unlikely that you'll come back to court, especially because you give a fake name to the police, things like that. But I will release you to the department as soon as they can come and find a way to come and pick you up and take you back to Webb County. Okay? All right, do you have any questions for me, Estrella? I know you're frustrated. I know you don't like this. This court does CPS cases here in Tarrant County also. And take it or leave it, my best advice to you, there are so many opportunities that Texas tries to make up by growing up in foster system. Seriously look at this transition stuff. When you turn 18, how to transition to independent living. It's amazing. Free college, assistance with housing, cars, getting all your stuff together. They can do amazing things. You just have to be willing to receive the gifts. If that makes sense. But if you want to do it your own, that's your call. You're an adult. But it's a lot different in that transition to independent living. It's actually the kids that I've talked to that come through this court. They're actually, it's amazing how different their lives are. The ones that skip it tend to come back, get arrested for other things. They never go to college. They never finish college. They have relationship problems. The ones that go through the transition, man, a lot of them, their lives are so blessed. So maybe some time to think about what you want to do as you get closer to your 18th birthday. Have you started the classes yet? Have they talked to you about the transition to independent living yet? Estrella? Have they started talking to you about the independent living or transition to independent living yet? Not yet?
I don't know.
It starts right about when you're 17.
Yeah, we have Judge, sorry to interrupt, but she's just really not perceptive to it. She's just not wanting to do.
Yeah, and that's her choice, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But
So,
like you said, they have a lot of opportunities, and if they take advantage, they can, come something good.
free college, that's an opportunity.
I know.
All right, Estrella, do you have any questions for me? Do you understand what's going on? I know you're bummed, but I just want to make sure you don't have any questions for me that I can answer while we're talking right now. No? Okay. All right. Thank you, Estrella. Thank you, Ms. Ruiz.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr.
Your Honor,
Mendoza.
if I may ask a quick question.
Yes.
And the issue being, it's up in the air in terms of how quickly CPS can find a placement for her. If she is still in detention at close of business, do you want another detention hearing on the docket?
So I want her on the detention docket for Friday. And so what happens then is at that point, if she's here, I'll probably just release her to the department, and it may be locally or maybe an order for Webb County to come and get her, or the placement that she was at from Harris County to come up and get her. I don't want her over the weekend is my thing. So Ms. Ruiz is going to talk to the judge there. I can sign an order transferring the case. At that point, the judge there can detain her in their juvenile facility in Webb County. And that way they don't have to worry about a placement immediately.
Judge, if I may, Judge, it'd be great if we can get the order to transfer to Webb County from your office. I think that'd carry a lot on the law enforcement aspect of it.
There's two ways to do this. One, the family code allows the CPS judge in Webb County to order me to transfer it. If there's a CPS case going on and a juvenile case, the CPS case judge can order me to transfer it. I have no problem doing it. I like the law in this case, but I can't force that judge to do it. All right. The other option is locally, your DA can file a motion here in this case, or our DA can, and I can transfer it if somebody files a motion. I don't know if I can just transfer a case to another district judge without talking to the district judge or somebody filing a motion. Okay. Now, if you can get Mr. Lewis the cause number and the judge's name, I can probably make a phone call and see if they're willing to take the child, and then that may speed things along. All right, is that fair enough? So, yeah, I want to do it. I just want to make sure the procedure is followed.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Rudy Valley. Is he under 14 still?
No.
Just turned 15, okay.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
Mr. Lofton, good morning.
Good morning. I can hear you.
Good.
All right, Rudy, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. You've been here for 10 days. So you have to see a judge. I have to look at your case and decide whether you should stay here or I should release you. You have the right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. You have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. I'm looking at your case. You're level 3 unacceptable, so I'm going to detain you. Thank you.
I have an excuse, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Lofton. Have a great day.
Have a good
Yeah,
day,
be
too.
excused, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Sorry, I like totally missed that. Is this it? Yeah, I guess it is. Um, my friends, how quickly the evening goes. Let me just get myself back here. Where am I? Where am I? I am still not there. Now I'm back. Oh God. Thank you guys so much for coming by the kitchen. Judge Kim, I think he is like, I really have decided to not use mental illness terms as insults anymore. So while I was going to say bipolar, I don't think that's what I want to say. What I mean is he is very different day to day, and he is hard to please in a way. Anyways, um, water is important. I used to love ice from Subway. Seriously, best ice ever. It was like the tiny little cubes. They don't have that anymore. Um, we, Canada has great water to begin with, and I live in British Columbia where we have really, really good water. So I can drink the tap water absolutely, totally safely, and it totally tastes fine. But it's just habit too, anyways. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. If you're a new subscriber, this is one of the versions of videos that I do, which is the long form detention docket dinners, I guess we're calling it, where you come and have dinner with me while we watch detention dockets. These are old from the beginning of the pandemic and is how a lot of us original court nerds really found our way to this type of viewing, which, you know, I love it when you guys like and comment and share the videos, but I also totally recognize like nobody that I talk to like in my real life is interested at all in my court videos, so I understand it's not easy to share, but I super duper appreciate everybody's comments and likes. Yeah, water is an important thing in every area. And I think I was gonna say something. I made a note and now I can't remember what it was. But yeah, the soft little cubes, Amy, right? Like I love that kind of ice. I don't know why. I think it's the filtered water that is used to make ice in commercial ice machines that I really like. But I don't know. I literally once had an ice machine purchased for me by my ex-husband like 12 years ago or 13 years ago, but it didn't taste good. It was like he was so mad because I wanted the ice machine so badly, and then it was here and then it was never used because it just didn't taste good. And he was just like, I bought you that ice machine. And I was like, it doesn't make the right ice. I don't know how to explain it. Anyways. I am gonna get going. It's after 10 o'clock now. I still have a lot to do tonight on the computer and stuff, but I appreciate all of you coming by and hanging out with me tonight and seeing, my kitchen and what I made. I made the macaroni and cheese tonight. It ended up being very good. Thank you. And I will be taking recipe suggestions soon. So look forward to that coming. I wanted to have your guys' favorite recipes and then I'm going to try them out on stream. So, your shit better be good. That's the reality. Anyways, all right, guys, I'm going to take off. Thank you all so much for being here. Amy, loved having you. Donna, thank you so much. I know a lot of you guys are East Coast and being here is so late and honestly, so, so thankful. Have a great night, court gang, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Okay? Thanks, guys.